Good evening, chat. Hello. Welcome to the show tonight. And it's like we're turning Fridays into the Russell Greer show. And I really wish I was clever enough and skilled enough at this point, but it's almost like Matthew Hardin. Oh, I still have this on. I forgot. I should probably take this off now. I don't need it anymore. I doubt I'm still bleeding. Matthew Hardin is kind of like a one-man Cobra unit in terms of like Metal Gear Solid lore. He's basically all the things that Russell fears. He's the fear, the sorrow, the end, and the fury. It's like he's everything to Russell Greer. And it's almost like in our terms, he needs, the felted, the hardship, the suffer. That's really kind of where we are now. That's kind of where we are. And then, Big Boss obviously can be null, but I think it's very, this week has been hilarious in that regard. That week has been hilarious in that regard. Oh, what's on my arm? Well, I got an armband, chat. No, I actually had to go to the doctor today, and they did some blood draws. And this one actually kind of still bleeding a little bit, so I'm leaving that one on. So they did like one or two out of my arm. They're like, yeah, can we use your hand? And I'm like, this one actually hurt when I used my hand, but yeah. This is my AIDS infusion, yes. They had to inject me with more cringe, chat. I was running low. Yes. It was a gravy IV. Well, yeah, that's what happens. When they took the blood samples, it was like, wow, it's like, really, they can just dump that in a frying pan and use it right away. Yes. Yeah, that was built for hand jobs. I know. But yes, for Russell Greer, it's I don't understand, and this is where Russell Greer is going to try to get the stream taken down again, which I know, Russell, you're going to cry, you're going to piss, and you're going to shit all over the floor. And you're going to get my stream taken down for like 12 hours. Just, email. I don't put your address out there. If you don't want people to cover this, you don't want people like me to mock you. And I get it. Getting mocked by somebody like me, you're like, not only is Matthew Hardin your hardship, but now some fat ass in Ohio is giving you problems. Like, you can just stop. You can just stop and I won't have to talk about you anymore. I can focus on Ethan Klein. I can focus on Destiny. I can focus on Stuttering John. You are the one that is causing the problems. You are the one sticking your head above the parapet. And then it's just, I'm just the one going along and go, whoop. It's like you're stuck in the concentration camp, and I'm aiming good. As long as you're not sitting there tying your shoe, I won't shoot you. But welcome to the show, everybody. I'm potentially criminal, also known as Sean. I'm an attorney out in Cleveland, and we were going to work on this tonight, but we're going to have to switch it to tomorrow night. We have a Doggos. The Doggos try it. They are going to try the meat sticks and everything they got as a Christmas present. We're going to do that live tomorrow. Should be a fun time. And then I'm going to try the jerky we got. 2.0 and I are going to try it. But we're going to have the dogs try what they got. And they've been sniffing the box really, 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 really hard. Popcorn Power says, are we skeeting on Russell's face again tonight? I mean, at Bonbon too? Of course. Of course. We got Bonbon for like another couple of days. Lou Fight said, I'm going to try dog treats. No, we got 2.0 and I got jerky sticks for ourselves. And then there are some dog jerky sticks. So there's two separate groups of tries it tomorrow. 2.0 is going to try my jerky. Well, that's already happened multiple times for many years. So I don't kiss and tell, but that's it. Trucid said Mercanti was granted subpoena. Yeah, that's because they were going to get it. And I understand why Ron Coleman gave it to her. She's going to look for it. There's going to be nothing there. And now, that's just more costs that Alyssa Mercanti is going to have to pay Smash JT at this point. Yes, don't mistake the dog treats. Oh, yeah, we're not going to. Let's see here. Get any other comments? Oh, Would you like more viewers, sir? No, I'm not from you. Not from you. Iron Knuckle says left-handed freaks. Goddamn right, buddy. Left-handed like a boss. Although it's weird because unless it's for writing purposes or for shooting purposes, I'm not left-handed. It's very weird. I used to be left-handed at everything as a kid, and now only shooting guns, primarily rifles. I mean, I could shoot a pistol right-handed, but not very well. But, shooting firearms and writing left-handed, it's the only thing left I do left-handed. Everything else, golf, hockey, baseball, football, shooting a bow, everything else, right-handed. Not the left hand, not the left hand. So it's weird like that. It's weird like that. Yes. Ashley is correct. Oh, I love this. War has changed. It's an endless battle. It's an endless series of proxy lawsuits fought by lol cows and retards. Fought by lol cows and prostitutes. That's where we are, yes. ID tagged lol cows. File ID tagged lawsuits. With using God, I can't even remember to run it together at this point. So, oh, hello, people. How are you guys doing? All right, hey guys. Is Erica Thorpe related to Grace Thorpe? God, I fucking hope not. But I don't think the answer is correct. Kurt, how you doing? Friend of the show, friend of the channel. Hope you're doing well out there, Kurt. Yes, war never changes. Yes. Do the nuns only partially beat the devil out of you? Actually, nobody. I never went to Catholic school, but even at PSR, they didn't care that I wrote left-handed. We were a little more civilized then. No says, sick. What compound bow do you use? I'm a Hoyt fanboy. No. I have a PSE. I have a PSE Stinger. It's probably now 12 years old. I mean, I should probably upgrade at some point, but I can't outshoot it, and I take it in every other year to get inspected, and I haven't shot it enough. I've worn it out, so I mean, I could probably upgrade at some point, but really, the bow technology now is just lighter and lighter and lighter. It's not like my dad's first Fred Bear bow that he got 40 years ago compared to the one I bought, and the one actually I didn't buy it. It was a birthday present in 2013. There's a difference between those. But I mean, at this point now, I could probably upgrade. It's just I don't know. I mean, I thought maybe I get a Hoyt, maybe I get a Matthews. I don't know. I don't know yet. So, Kurtz is trying to motivate myself to go to the gym today. Well, hey, go. We'll keep you company. But yeah, get those gains, Kurt. Keep up the good work, man. Brimstone says, I heard you use a shot collar on your dog. Wow. Do I look like a Turk? Do I look like some Turk to you? Does this look like welcome to the souk? No, I do not, good sir. It's not good, sir. Oh. Afton says, if you went to the gym this late in the day, I never get to sleep. Yeah, but some people work different hours. Some people do it differently. It's dark. The night is scary. Well, yeah, there you go. PSC is great for hunting. Yeah, I mean, really, a lot of these bows are good for hunting. Barnett, like any of these brands. I mean, really, it's about they're all tools and how well can you use them. There are too many grays in chat. I agree. There are too many fucking grays in chat. Too many fucking grays. Let's see here. Golden Mongoose says, did you go bow hunting in April? No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Shino Boo Boo says, Turks called out. The Turks should always be called out for what they've done. What they did to the Eastern Roman Empire and what they did to Europe for about roughly, more or less like 800 years. They should be called out for that. They should never be allowed to rest for what they did. So you look like Hassan in 20 years. No, his hair's thinning out. So no, I'm not looking like Hassan. Thank you, though, sir. I have the skin complexion of a Turk. Those are fucking fighting words. I will find out where you live. I will find out where you live. Green and Greer is awfully close. I'm just saying. Well, that trick doesn't work here, sir. EDW Raptor with 1 sub. And then SB Sellers with 1 sub. All right, Chad, it's 10 minutes. Let's get this show on the road, but we'll get an Owu on the board just because we got the ball rolling to help make America green again, chat. That's right, Grays. Keep moving. This is a green neighborhood. That's what we're here for. It's time to get started. Let's see here. I smell like a Turk. No, your mom seems to enjoy it, so I don't know. James Reed says, are we going to model later? Yeah, we're going to do some model stuff later. We probably will. Probably will. So we get through all this stuff. But yes. Do Turks do land acknowledgments for stealing Anatolia from the Byzantines? I don't know. And do they do land acknowledgments for, overrunning the Bithynians, the Cappadocians, any of those? I don't know. I don't know if they do. The Khazars and the Bulgars and the Avars. I don't know if they do any of that. I don't know if they do. Try to think of what would he. The Bactrians. Bactria was a real place. It's not just like Star Wars shit. It was the where we call Afghanistan now, and it was also the home to the Greco-Romans, the Greco-Bactrian. Sorry, the heirs of Alexander's empire in that area. They survived for a very long time in that region. That's why there are a lot of Afghans with like red hair and white skin. They were holdouts out there till quite a while. Lived on after the Diadochi Wars. So, Bactrian camels. All right, guys, it's time to go. It is time to do this. It's been busy. It's been a busy week. Guys, remember last time, the 12th, we were already in this is the heat of battle. And we didn't it's not stopping, chat. It's not stopping. We are in December now. And December, we started document 390, filing 390. And we are up to now 19 days in, number 422. There have been 32 filings and docket movements in this fucking case. Think about that. This is ridiculous levels of litigation. I really am surprised the court has not stepped in and said everybody to just stop. This is just the Tard Shield, the Tard Guard, the Cloak of Tardation. It's a real thing, guys. It's a real thing. If you were a regular person doing all this stuff or any other parties engaged in it, I don't think the courts would have stopped this long ago. But I don't know what's going on here. It's that lolcow thing. Lolcows have that innate ability to escape punishment and problems, and it's manifesting. It's manifesting today in that it's manifesting itself. It's manifesting. And we are going to have some awesomeness here. We're going to see some real emotions on display as this goes on. Like I said, Matthew Hardin is like a one-man band. He's like a one-man Cobra unit. He can play as anybody. At this point, it is hilarious. It is hilarious what he does and how he does it in this situation. And it's hilarious how bad Russell gets riled up and wants to just fight everything all the time. And it's like, you wanted this, Russell. This is what you wanted. You wanted all of this. And I don't know why you did, but for some reason you did. You wanted all of this. And now you got it. And you called down the thunder, and as Whiter said, you called down the thunder, and now you got it. You can't. There's nowhere left to hide, Russell. Like, everything is going to become something to learn and something to go after. And there's not any amount of, crying about it that's going to protect you. But yes, I wish Hardin could come on and he'd be like, look at me. I did this to you. And that's where we are. So let's get started. We ended on the 12th of December, and over the weekend, things were quiet. But little did we, we knew the war would wage. We know that battle would rage on afterwards. And guess what? It started on Monday. Monday. The battle continued. Russell Greer did a declaration in direct opposition to the declaration of defense counsel Hardin. And this is where, this is the problem when you're dealing with lawsuits that you have. Remember, this is the problem when the court doesn't manage the docket. You're supposed to have, like, it's the tennis match. It's the volley. You have the motion, you have the reply, or you have the opposition, and then you have the reply. You have three things. It's a three-part act each time. But the court is not governing the docket. So instead, you have motion, opposition, reply, 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 reply. Then boom, boom, boom. It just keeps going. And then as soon as Russell does something, Hardin, is launching a volley again. So now there's like multiple tennis balls being lobbed at once. And then Russell does something and he starts fucking throwing. And it's just a million things going on at once. People are keeping track of this case. And there's so many unanswered motions. It's so many things are happening here that it's just not like it's not it's just not ending, chat. It's just not ending at this point. It's just not ending. And this makes the docket hard. And I'm not blaming I don't blame Hardin for doing what he's doing, because you have to defend your client and you have to do what you think is right. But at some point, this is just, because I was talking to him about this. I'm like, this is getting out of hand, dude. And I said, I don't blame him for doing what he's got to do, but it is just getting crazy. And I said, I just said, man, like, be careful. Like, I don't, like, I know it, like, nothing bad. Like, it's not like he's going to get, disbarred over this, but it's just like, at some point the court's going to get pissed, and I don't know what that, like, threshold is, but I also understand he's got to respond. You got to defend your boy. And it's just, we can't have this. This is the court's failure to monitor this docket. And it's one thing, like, if a couple things happen and nobody realized. And, 416. Oh, I got to go back. Hold on, chat. Sorry. Here you go. Sorry, I was in the wrong spot. I was clicked ahead. Ceciliasms, thank you. The court should be governing itself. The court should be monitoring the docket. There are clerks and other people involved. This can't continue like this forever. This is going to, at some point, this has turned into a Gordian knot, and the court's going to have to use a very sharp fucking sword. Since we've already mentioned Alexander the Great once and the Macedonians, but yeah, we're getting to that point of like, well, we're gonna have to cut this bitch apart. But yes, this is, remember, Matthew Hardin just asked Russell to preserve his payment information. When he was talking about all his hookering and all the stuff that he did to show that he had money. That he had money. So here we go. Here we go. Sean Tism kicked in. He's unable to process anything else. Yes, thank you, Samuel Hartman. So what do we have here? So this is where it goes. And Russell Greer is opposed to all this. He opposes the defendant's motion for a preservation order. And this is proper. You file an opposition. Cool. The motion is based on speculation. I wouldn't say that. Misstates the governing law, does it really? And seeks extraordinary relief unrelated to any live claim or defense. Once again, guys, Russell is using AI. There's nothing wrong with using AI as long as you are responsible for it. So Russell can use AI, but he's got to make sure citations are correct. Any assertions made in there are correct. Russell's responsible for that. But using AI to format it is not wrong on its face, but there are ways this could lead to problems for Russell going forward. He says at bottom, which this doesn't make, I didn't understand how that's phrased that way, but whatever. At bottom, defendants attempt to resurrect a long resolved filing fee issue as a pretext for intrusive discovery. Well, not really, Russell. This is an ongoing thing here. That you committed fraud on the court of his personal finances years after the fact because defendants lack a viable defense on the merits. No, they pretty much got you there too, Russell. They pretty much got you there as well, but I understand. And he says, my former papyrus status was proper at the time. And he says, 28 U.S.C. 1915 evaluates the condition at the time the complaint is filed, not based on hindsight, later events, or discretionary personal expenditures. Well, Russell, you can't commit fraud on the court, so it does matter. When plaintiff initiated the action in 2020, he faced an imminent statute of limitations deadline to this copyright claim. So you fucked around. The 3-year limitation period was set to expire in October or November 2020. Leaving plaintiff no practical option but to file when he did so or permanently lose his claims. Well, you're going to permanently lose coming up, Russell. That I can tell you that much. At that same time, he was preparing to locate from Utah to Nevada. And at the same time, he was also getting ready to sue fucking America's Got Talent. Plaintiff remained responsible for Utah rent, advanced Nevada housing costs, and U-Haul moving expenses. So Russell didn't figure out a way to get rid of his lease. Like, that makes sense. It's like Dark Side Phil. I'll just keep paying on 2 condos. What could go wrong? In light of these obligations, Russell believed that paying the filing fee would impose undue hardship. Plaintiff relied on set of law holding litigant need not be destitute, and that's correct. You don't need to be destitute to qualify for IFP. Only able to pay the fee without sacrificing basic necessities. Although that pretty much does make you destitute when you're like, I don't have $400 to scrape up. Say nothing in the court order suggested Russell was required to maintain permanent poverty, and nobody's saying you are. You just lied to the court about the fact you were broke, Russell. You lied! You lied, Russell. That's what happened here. Say the filing fee was resolved by court order and plaintiff's compliance. That says the court later ordered Russell to pay the filing fee, and plaintiff promptly complied. That's like the one time he actually got shit done at a time. He didn't cry he just like, okay. Plaintiffs don't dispute the fee was paid as ordered. Nevertheless, they argue dismissal is mandatory, notwithstanding the court's ordered full compliance. Defendants cite no authority supporting the proposition the court may retroactively dismiss a case after order the payments. He says their position would convert 1915 into a perpetual audit of a litigant's life, contrary to the statute's purpose. And it says, notably, prior counsel, well, it doesn't matter what prior counsel did if they discover this issue, although that shows like Scored is kind of fucked up on this one, raised no issue regarding it for more than 3 years. The issue only surfaced after current counsel, Matthew Hardin, entered the case long after the filing fee question had been rendered moot. But it wasn't rendered moot, Russell, because you had to come in and pay. So it wasn't moot. It wasn't moot. The motion is a fishing expedition. It is untethered from the merits. Those are untethered. Russell is never using that word. And that's too fancy of a word. That's a $10 word. Russell's too broke to use it. Unable to identify any substantive defect in plaintiff's copyright claims. Oh, there's a bunch of them, Russell. Defendants now seek to expand this case sideways by this is how a lawyer would argue this. This is actually a well put together argument, but it's clearly from the AI. By demanding preservation of years of plaintiff's personal financial records, defendant's theory rests on selective screenshots, speculative assumptions about lawful consumer spending. Lawful consumer spending, meaning Russell paying for his whores. Russell's paying for hookers. It's lawful. They're hoes, Russell. They're hoes. And you know what? It is a lawful job, but just admit what it is. And unsupported claims that additional payments must exist. From this, defendants ask the court to authorize a broad financial inquiry wholly unrelated to copyright, ownership, infringement, damages, or defenses. This is the definition of a fishing expedition. Your lawsuit is a fishing expedition, Russell. Preservation orders are not speculative discovery. Character attacks, well, you've already done that. Or attempts to shame a litigant into abandoning a case. Well, that's what you're doing here. That's your entire legal strategy, Russell. Defendants have shown neither. This motion reflects harassment, not legitimate, as is preservation. Discovery in this case is stayed. Defendants identify no actual spoliation. You don't have to. No intent to destroy. You don't have to. No imminent loss tied to any claim or defense. Well, they don't know yet. That's why it's a preservation letter. That's why. You're like, we don't know yet. We'd like you to hold on to these documents. Instead, they rely on generalized assertions about third-party retention and hypothetical future discovery. Well, yeah, we don't know what we're going to do. We'd ask you to hold on to it in the meantime. Oh, duh. Taken as a whole, the motion is not aimed at preserving evidence. It is aimed at harassing plaintiff, relitigating resolved issues. It's distracting from the inability to stress the merits of the case. The one where you're calling no witnesses and presenting no evidence, Russell? I mean, that one's pretty easy. Plaintiff does not consider their motion to be a possible... Plaintiff does consider their motion to be a possible Rule 11 violation. No, yeah. No, I did, Your Honor. Arrest him! Arrest him! They're the bad man! That's where we are, Russell. Once again, Chad, as I said, the fear, the sorrow, the fury, the hardship. It's where we are. Do you think he looked up spoliation? Maybe. I think he definitely threw stuff in there, though. This is ChatGPT is running hard. Meme copium. Hello, mate. Doing the good work out there in the mornings. The best show prep on the internet, Meme Copium, guys. Give him a like. Give him a subscribe. Maybe not the best dyno. Maybe not the best dyno driver. But he is the best show prep out there. So the motion is particularly misplaced given the nature of the claims. This is a copyright action. Alleging willful infringement, for which statutory damages, enhanced damages, and attorney's fees may be available. Well, you don't get attorney's fees, Russell. Who are the attorney's fees going to? Who are the attorney's fees going to here, sir? Oh, if the court were inclined to consider a preservation order at all, the relative concern would not be plaintiff's personal consumer spending, but rather defendant's ability to satisfy a potential judgment, including willful copyright damages. Well, you should do that, Russell. Then guess what? File a motherfucking preservation notice. Send one to Hardin saying, I want to preserve your financial records. But you probably haven't fucking done that yet, you fucking tard. Say defendants have made no show regarding the preservation of records relevant to the revenues, profits, corporate structure, insurance, or other financial information bearing on damages and collectability. Well, yeah. You haven't asked for it. You haven't done that. They don't have to do it if you don't ask them for it, Russell. As somebody said on the forums, yes, Russell does the cargo cult thing. He sees what Hardin does and copies it. It's like, did you offer a preservation notice, Russell? That's the only way this fucking works. They don't have the same shit if you don't ask for it. He has to pay his attorney in the chat GPT, yes. oh. Afix says, time is money. I can see the argument. Sure, and I understand this idea, but courts generally don't grant it to pro se litigants. Although I do know in the 11th Circuit, Floodbusters, Matt LaRosier mentioned that attorneys who represent themselves can seek attorney's fees. But no, not you little people. Not you little people. You're just little people. So, they say the selective focus on the finances while ignoring their own because you haven't asked. You haven't asked. That's your job. Underscores emotions not only preserving evidence, but a harassment and collateral attack. Yeah, and that another clear case of collateral attack. Russell, do you know what collateral attack is, buddy? Do you know what collateral attack is there? Come on. Preservation orders should be even-handed and tethered to issues actually in dispute. Defendant's request is neither. So defense have failed to present any... And once again, I don't understand this fucking, like, two-space fucking indent. This is so garbage. This, I can kind of deal with, but, like, this shit indent. Come on, buddy. So, he complains about this. You know, should the court determine any relief is appropriate, such relief should be tailored at liability and damages. Well, you can't, Russell. You didn't ask for it. So, no, you don't get to turn around and ask for it like this. But sign Russell Greer. My left, right. And, holy shit, I gotta sneeze again. All right. So moving on from there, this was done on the 12th, but it only got filed on Monday. So after everything came down. Russell did another motion. He did immediately. That got filed on Monday in response to the motion to strike by Matthew Hardin. So Russell's already moving again at full speed. Now, notice this is page 1 of 38. We're not going through it like that. So calm down, guys. Calm down. It's not going to be that bad. So Russell's opposition confirms the disclosure of Natalie Banks is improper and should be stricken. It's not filed, so there's nothing to strike, Russell. Striking things means striking them from the record. A notice provided by the rules between the parties is not a matter of record. There's nothing to strike here. You strike things that are filed, or you strike things that are of the record. So, for example, striking testimony. You could do that, just not, like, this is not it. It says, rather than identifying admissible testimony tied to any claim, that's not how this works. It's a potential witness. Hey, we might need her. I don't know. They have the right to tell you of that. And they say the response is demonstrating that Natalie Banks is offered solely to advance objective character narratives. Stigma. He moved on for kink shaming. An online escalation, precisely the type of collateral material rules 26, 403, and 602 prohibit. You're like jumping around here. So you're citing the civil rules, Rule 26 for discovery. Then you're making an objection under Rule 403 and Rule 602 of the rules of evidence. Like, you don't just because you're implying that they're all the same rule. No, they're separate books, Russell. You should be doing this in a way that makes sense. This just shows you how sloppy ChatGPT is. It puts a fancy bow on everything, but it's still gobbledygooking shit together at this point. They say the disclosure necessarily creates a circular character dispute. So they claim it's relevant because she personally believes plaintiff is dangerous. He says, that theory is self-defeating. And Miss Banks may testify based on her subjective impressions. Plaintiff would hypothetically be entitled to present rebuttal witnesses offering contrary subjective impressions of Mrs. Banks. Are you going to find some women who don't think you're a fucking creep, Russell? What about that girl that allegedly got her ass whooped in the brothel? What about all these women who like blacklist you on the hooker app that they have, like the sex worker Discord or whatever it is they got, whatever thing it is? Who are you going to bring in that supports you? What women are you going to find? Are you going to go pay for a prostitute to come in? You're going to pay her to like say, I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a bad guy. It's like, no. Oh, that's not going to work well. Yeah. Even the hookers don't want them. Yeah. Afix, this is just Arrows plus WhatsApp. I know, but whatever it is. I don't know the name of it. So Greer believes those women should also be stricken. Well, yes, that's Russell's good at striking things. We know that apparently. That's the allegation. I'm just saying it's out there. Plaintiff has a connection to sex. Well, and they're so concerned that they go seek legal protection from the courts. Plaintiff has a connection to sex worker witness who has personally met and interacted with Miss Banks and would hypothetically testify. Would hypothetically? Are you saying like this is? Are you saying she like you're conjuring up that she could testify? No, you should say that she would be able to testify that Mrs. Banks is not a nice person, hostile and unreliable. When you think it's hypothetical, Russell, does that mean you're manufacturing testimony? I mean, it kind of sounds like that. I don't know, man. Unlike Miss Banks, who never met plaintiff in person, this rebuttal witness possesses firsthand knowledge of Miss Banks herself. Okay, well, who is she? Have you declared it? Because you're now bringing it up, Russell. I mean, you could argue maybe it's a impeachment witness and rebuttal. That way, you don't necessarily have to disclose. Some situations you might, but I don't know in situation you can get away with it since you said, yeah, there's definitely nothing there. Plaintiff has no plans to introduce any witnesses. You have no plans to introduce any witnesses because you agreed. You're now barred from introducing witnesses. Unless this court for some reason allows Banks to testify, which is shown below, would create an absurd circular phenomenon. Allowing defendant's disclosure would devolve discovery into an endless loop of finger pointing. Natalie believes Russell is dangerous. A lot of women probably believe you're dangerous. Countered by another witness believes Natalie's untrustworthy. Followed by further rebuttals and surrebuttals. Yes, Russell, that's how this works. This is the definition of a collateral mini-character trial. Courts routinely exclude such evidence because it substitutes personal animus for probative facts. I don't know. This could be probative. How big of a fucking psychopath you are. And risk confusing the issue before the court. Rule 403. Which rule, Russell? Is this a rule of evidence? Exists precisely to prevent litigation from becoming a forum for competing personal grievances. Yes, but there's also Rule 404, prior bad acts, which would have made a lot more sense here. Because that's kind of like, they're introducing your prior bad acts of you treating women like shit. So yes, Rule 403 has some bearing, but here, this is like 404. This is 404 evidence, I would argue. The fact that defendant's theory opens a circular dispute proves irrelevance. That's actually not there. She also lacks personal knowledge under Rule 602. It's undisputed Russell never met Natalie Banks in person. There was no physical interaction, no relationship, no real-world contact beyond sporadic Instagram messages sent months apart for about a year. No, there looks like there was a lot of information, Russell. You were coming out there to give her Valentine's, bro. You were trying to sweet talk her. Don't act. You wanted to put your face in her cooter. You were wanting to do that, Russell. Let's stop. You thought she was your girlfriend. So just stop it. Stop it. Miss Banks' opinion. Tech guy said Rule 404 not found. Har 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 har. Har har har. So her opinions regarding Russell's character, intent, or alleged dangerousness are therefore not based on first-hand observation. No, on her observations, are you acting like a fucking lunatic to her? Yeah. They're speculative impressions. Are they really? Formed for limited online exchanges of third-party material. So she does have a direct working with you. You admit those are you. Thank you, Russell. You've now admitted I did speak to her. These are real things. Okay, well, thanks. Thanks. We appreciate that. We appreciate that so much. We appreciate it so very much, Russell. Which are admissible under Rule 602. Well, it's not always. By contrast, rebuttal witnesses has met Miss Banks personally. This asymmetry, once again, it's a $10 word and Russell ain't got the money, further illustrates why Miss Banks' testimony lacks personal knowledge required for admissibility. The statements demonstrate bias and a disability-based animus. Yes, Russell. Hostile witnesses hostile to you will have a bias. It's your job to point out that bias and why that bias affects her credibility. Should this go to trial? These are matters for trial at this point. We're not even to the point of, has Natalie Banks been deposed? You don't necessarily know the extent of what she's going to say. At that point, you could probably make motions for her under Rule 602, under Rule 401, under Rule 403, under Rule 404. There's a lot of things you could do, but crying about it right now is not the proper time. It's way too early. It's way too early. And it says, Miss Banks' public statements demonstrate bias and a disability-based animus. So, in multiple YouTube videos, Banks publicly mocks, insults, and characterizes the plaintiff using derogatory language, including comments about Russell's appearance and facial disability, referring to him as creepy-looking and a lunatic. Well, you're lunatic. The fact you're a psychopath and you treat women like shit, Russell, I'm assuming you'd probably be doing that if you didn't have the disability. And framing his disability is part of the basis for her hostility. Once again, Russell, this is the wrong time. This is the wrong time, Russell. I'm sure this isn't the only thing you do prematurely. Probably when you're with the hookers. Yes, I think Alpha Fox is right. Yes, premature litigation. Yes. Oh. And they says, these statements are not reactions to any violent conduct. Are you implying there is violent conduct that are out there? The way you do this, this is why you have to you have to be careful about how you write things. That just leaves one to wonder. This line leaves one to wonder. Defendants do not identify a single Instagram message in which plaintiff threatened violence or engaged in aggressive behavior. Really? You don't think those messages were fucking aggressive, Russell? The Instagram messages were saying, hi, flirting. You're flirting with a hooker. You are flirting with a woman who's paid to have sex with you. God almighty, I can only imagine, Russell goes to, this is like the episode of South Park. He's Butters. When the waitress at Hooters calls him honey, Russell sits there and goes, oh my God, she likes me. And he's waiting out in the parking lot for her. Brother, come on now. Brother, come on now. Have some self-dignity. And eventually, Mrs. Banks' own descriptions instead reveal that her negative views stem from personal dislike or the fact you're being a fucking creep, false research, and appearance-based judgments, not first-hand experience. As Naveed's Feed and Seed tells us, yes, I hear is banned from every Home Depot because he keeps stepping on every single rake of the store. Yes, well, I will tell you, apparently research has indicated Russell is... Oh, I know he believes this is flirting. I know he 100% believes it's flirting. I'm just pointing out it's not. I know it's not. And that's the thing. Russell has severe issues with attachment in women. At least Butters had a successful kissing business and has an Apata bitch. Yes. Very true, Cat. But yes, Russell is also banned from most whorehouses and or cat houses, whatever you want to call them. All the bunny ranches in Nevada, except for one apparently as of right now. There's a bunch of them he's been banned from. So, Dolly's been a member for 22 months, says, wait, isn't it normal to flirt with hookers? I mean, I would not really say yes, and I'd say it's a little weird and, signals some psychological issues, but so no, I would not. I would not, but well, society could draw its own norms from that. But thank you, Dolly, for being here 22 months. Oh. Okay. The hooker union had enough. I mean, yeah, pretty much. Scormhammer says the correct answer, Sean, is I don't know. It's like, yeah, but I think you don't have to have experience with hookers to do this to know you shouldn't do it. Like a little cordiality upon meeting might be normal. Well, yeah, sure. You're like, hello, I would like to pay you for sex. Like that would make sense. Yes. Oh, do hookers have a 401k or an SCP? I don't know. I think they're 1099 probably at the end of the day. I think Natalie Bates is probably like a 1099 worker. I doubt she collects a W-2. I doubt she has a 401k through her employer. But she has a channel. You could ask her those questions. If you're honestly like, how does she do that stuff? I'm sure she takes funds her own retirement. So let's keep moving here. The 1099 could set up an SCP. It could. No tax on the tips, I hope. Well, I don't know how that would work. I don't know if her industry is covered by that. Don't know. So anyway, such bias is precisely why courts exclude character-based testimony offered to the guise of relevance. Allowing a witness whose animus is intertwined with disability-based ridicule to opine on dangerousness would be unduly prejudicial and improper. Russell, that's for you to motion later. You don't even know what exactly she's going to say. And it says the circularity problem confirms inadmissibility. Well, you've already, you're just reciting things now. So, then plaintiff's belief based on Miss Banks' own conduct that she is dangerous would also be admissible. If Miss Banks believes plaintiff is dangerous, is admissible, then Russell can be like, no, it is you who's dangerous. It's like, yeah, Russell, that's it. Yeah, that's it. She's some super secret, sex worker serial killer or something. Like, Jesus Christ, man. This is Cope. This is Copenhagen. This is Copenhagen now. The result is absurd. Court left adjudicating who fears whom, who dislikes whom, and whose subjective impressions are more persuasive. Well, yeah, Russell, that's what happens. You have to have the finders of fact have to find fact. This is not evidence, that is narrative escalation. The federal rules, which federal rules, Russell, do not permit discovery to devolve into reciprocal accusations untethered from any claim or defense. And guys, the big thing here is all this Russell citing relevance and prejudice and character evidence. You know what you don't see in here? There are no citations to anything. No court citations, nothing. This is just garbage. This is garbage. Garbage. The defendants mischaracterize the purpose and character of the copyrighted work. Oh, well, Russell, that is an issue of fact. That's an issue of fact, Russell. That's saved for trial. They attempt to justify disclosure by invoking fair use, resting on a mischaracterization of plaintiff's book. Notice why I sued Taylor Swift. There's a lot more to that that's missing here, Russell. There's a lot more to that. Why I sued Taylor Swift and became known as crazy, frivolous, and litigious. There's a lot more to that, Russell. As explained in Chapter 1, the work was written to clear plaintiff's name, respond to media distortion, and explain how online dogpiling can irreparably damage a private individual, particularly one with a disability. The book is expressive, explanatory, and defensive. people might interpret it a different way, Russell. Your literary works can be interpreted by people for different reasons, for different things. That is the nature of art, which is what you produce. You produce a literary work, and people can interpret and take from it, contrary to what you may want. It does not advocate violence or harassment, okay, according to you. Fair use analysis under 17 U.S.C. 107 turns on defendant's use of the work, not on whether a third party forms a hostile opinion of the author after reading it. The witness's subjective reaction cannot convert infringement into fair use. I mean, well, yeah, reaction, criticism, and commentary are subjective. This theory rewards online dogpiling. Russell, you've already done that, buddy. You're getting dogpiled no matter what, son. You get dragged. You're getting dragged, Russell. Get dragged harder than the cans behind a newlywed's car. The reliance exemplifies the very phenomenon plaintiff's book documents, online dogpiling, where accusations compound as third parties adopt and amplify prior narratives without firsthand knowledge. Ms. Banks' involvement only arose after defendant's conduct and reflects reputational escalation, not probative evidence. Bringing defendants to bootstrap this would incentivize harassment rather than adjudicate claims. Well, that's your fault. And Russell, once again, cites rules, but which rules, Russell? And Russell says the motion to strike should be granted. Signed, Russell Greer, my left point. So Russell goes on to cite the exhibits here. And this is where he used an AI transcription service. And this is Natalie Banks' video. It's called The Craziest Client Stalking the Nevada Brothel Scene. And she goes through this and she says, he's very litigious. And she says, not that I'm worried, but she's talking about Russell. And this is the entire, like the face. His face is so creepy. Okay, just our first impression is creepy as fuck. And she says, for two, his email signature was the name of his LLC. And she's like, okay. And, she says, and he has his face. It's like Ninja Turtles. It's like when Shredder takes the mask off. His face. He has a picture of himself. His attached was email contact thingy, and he looks creepy as shit. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there you go. I forgot this part, too. She's like, yeah, there were red flags going up everywhere, and I'm drunk, I'm feeling broggy, so I emailed him back. She's like, I'm going to kick this fucking hornet's nest to see what happens. Yes. I want you to take his face off as well, yes. She says, I was quickly able to determine this guy is on some bullshit and a fucking creeper. Correct. Who is trying to lure sex workers in the middle of the desert to work somewhere that does not exist. So what would you do when they get there? Okay, I can see this. Maybe girls wouldn't be able to see this and would fall for it and get hurt in some ways. So I messaged him back and I cussed him the fuck out. I'm like, you creepy bitch. Why are you trying to lure sex workers in the desert? Go fuck yourself. It's like... It's like I cuss him the fuck out. And you're like, double kill. Go fuck yourself. Triple kill. Also very predatory and poachy. Godlike. Like fuck off, dude. Ludicrous kill. He says, I fall asleep. I'm at the brothel. My boss knocks on my door. He says, I got an email about you. Russell emailed her fucking boss. That's right. Russell's like, I'm going to speak to the manager. And he's like, I'm not mad at you, but that's fucking hilarious. Honestly, he's a creep. Monster. Kill. Oh. He's been, around for a while. So this guy goes. And I emailed my boss off to the brothel's website to tell my boss I'm an ableist person. I'm discriminating against them. And his facial disability is a weird facial disability. Is a word like a term he actually uses himself. I've never heard of a facial disability. Yeah, it's just a physical disability. To be fair, it is a disability. And I'm like, what, ugly? Oh, nuke inbound! Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, Russell wrote that this was flirting. Yeah, exactly. You know, maybe he likes this. Well, no, I come to find out it's actually Mobius syndrome and half his face is paralyzed and born that way. So I look back and I'm like, how dare you, bitch? How dare you try to get me in trouble with my job? True. How dare you go to the manager? That is so gay. So gay, Russell. You stalker. You know, this kill streak she's on a kill streak, chat. She is on a kill streak when you read this. I reopened the emails. He changed his signature that used to be his LLC to Paralyzed Face Productions just to try to be like, gotcha. And, you know, to clarify, if I had mistakenly called a disabled person who actually does have a real disability that affects their face. She ain't afraid. She's calling him out for being a manipulative fucker. If at some point I called him out, you know, she goes on and on here. You know, she's like, you're stalking me. You're stalking my job. You're trying to get me in trouble at my workplace. Yeah. And that's the thing here. He would get her fired and he'd be like, well, I guess you could come work for me. I guarantee it was his plan. Exhibit B. Yes, notice Russell is, why is he Taylor Swift? But then there's how he became falsely known as frivolous, litigious, and crazy. Comic illustrations by a hired ghost illustrator. In chat, this is his book. This is his book. Yes. Yes, chat. Yes, the foreshadowing. He says, either I'm dead right or I'm crazy. That's not really... Doesn't look good here, Russell, but you're citing him. But Russell cited his actual fucking book. This is Russell's actual fucking book. Yeah. So this is really interesting. So yeah, this is Russell's book, guys. This is Russell's book. The Duty of Being in the Spotlight. Russell Greer, the man, the myth, the legend. The winner gets Taylor. Well, you weren't the winner. The dirty, rotten, no good agents. Russell doesn't like the Jews, Chad. I guess he can't stand the Jews and their grip on the entertainment industry. I guess you have to get them right once in a while. Burning down the forest. When you mess with the Queen Bee. Russell versus Taylor Swift, the small claims trial. Plot twist. She chose him over me. Russell, she would chose me over you. The $50 million lawsuit. My ultimate bigoted backstage experience. Quick blurb on the overhyped Colorado DJ trial. Fighting the Taylor Swifts in your life. Is this the new one, Brennan? No, it's not that good. I've read parts of it before. It's fucking awful. Let's see your book, Sean. My book will be Exhibit 1 in a trial for terrorism. So no. My book is about like target lists. But anyways, yeah, this is real, guys. This is real. This is the story about a man with a disability and a celebrity crush. Yes, this right here. That's Russell's vision of himself. This is him. This is him. Oh. What's the point of writing a book if you can't gloss yourself? It's cringe. Self-gloss is cringe, chat. Self-gloss is cringe. How is this not a gold mine? It is a gold mine, and you can read the book. It's out there. For a while, Russell made the entire thing a sample. I thought your book was the Anarchist Cookbook. Oh, the Anarchist Cookbook's fucking awful. No. Use a special forces improvised munitions manual to start with. There are other things you can read. And I would say for a long time, if you went on to like various message boards ran by like jihadist elements, they had all kinds of like tips and tricks and shit. And you could Google Translate all of that. I wouldn't do it anymore, but for a long time early on, you could do that and get some really good tips and pointers. Just saying. Just saying. But look at him. He's like, yeah. It's got reverse Mobius syndrome. It's going up, chat, instead of going down. Oh. Anyways, Russell imagined, here's the thing. For years, Russell saw Taylor Swift interact with his fans and reach out to her. He relied on these stunts as an invitation. He believed if he stood out from everybody else and did something elaborate, Taylor Swift would notice him and make his wildest dreams come true. And Russell really thinks this at the end of the day. He thinks that he'll eventually meet her and she'll be like, oh my God, I need you. That's like he sent her songs. He sent her songs in and stuff like that. She'll just land out in Las Vegas. She'll land at the runway and she'll come find him in the pouring rain. Russell, I've always wanted you. It's always been you. Come with me. That's what he really thinks is going to happen. Russell imagined everything working out perfectly. He jokes, but this is 100% true. He's fucking psychotic. And this is him, right? Once again, him. But bad agent slander and misunderstanding stopped those dreams from coming true. Yes, that's right, chat. The Matrix! Look, it's like the Agent Smiths. It's the Matrix. Good intentions turns Russell's celebrity crush against him. Taylor Swift stabbed Russell in the heart. Not hard enough, chat. Not hard enough. She hurt him more than she could ever know. Maybe she did know that she was hurting Russell. Based if she did. I hope she knows she did it. I hope she was all about it. I hope she was all about it. She's like, I'm going to make this retard suffer. I hope she took it in and went like all fucking, Japanese samurai and just went, what, and just did the harakiri cuts. Did the seppuku cuts for him. And then she kicked him off the cloud nine that he rode high upon. That's right, chat. Taylor Swift broke Russell's dream. She broke the man. Based. Suffer, Russell, suffer. And all that Russell had ever worked for was falling apart. He's crashing and burning, chat. Very apropos. He soon lined the wreckage of his broken dream, and now our story begins. No, your story. Yeah, this isn't a story, Russell. So, this is the prologue. So there I lied amidst the wreckage. That's not, you should be like, as I laid amidst the wreckage of my Cloud 9. Like, there's ways you could do this that are far better. He should really put this in ChatGPT and rewrite it, because this is kind of fucking garbage. Metaphoric glass covered me, and the flames fanned by the news and media and trolls surrounded me. Which, the metaphoric glass, that doesn't really... Yeah. Anyways, this is Russell's book. He chapter 1, the duty being in the spotlight. And he says, what if I told you that I gave all of my money and heart to Taylor Swift because I relied on her representations? You're a retard. You're a mark. You like to be taken for a ride, Russell. Am I going to read the entire book like Nick did? No, I'm not. Because by the end, I'm going to be like, if I have to read like a full page of this, I'm going to like, at the end of the day, chat, I'm going to be like that one dude who just, we're just going to be like, I can't do it, chat. Sorry. We're done. Someone should catfish him as Tay-Tay. I think people have done that. I don't know. I think the varying levels of success. Yes. Arrest her! So anyways, this is his thing here. But yes, if I told you that Taylor Swift destroyed my life, even though her and I never physically met, would you burst out in hysterical laughter and write me off as crazy? I wouldn't laugh at you, but I would think you're a fucking psychopath. Yes. But anyways, yes, this is I don't know here, but anyways, this is all of Russell's book, and I'm sure he's going to try to copyright strike me for this. But Russell, I'm going to scroll through the whole motherfucking book that you posted. You did this to yourself, buddy. You did this to yourself. You did this to yourself. What a tard. What a tard. And then on Monday, Russell only escalates from there. He did a declaration of direct opposition to the Declaration of Defense Council. I mean, Russell, there is a belief that anything you do is in opposition. You don't have to do direct opposition. It's very much, yes. Very much like A Few Good Men. Your Honor, I strenuously object. Oh, you strenuously object. That changes everything. Yes. He made this public record in a lawsuit. I know he did, but that doesn't stop him from flagging me every stream that I'm bullying him and publishing information that he himself publishes. So Russell gets his tampon all gooey, and he wrings it out, and then he cries to YouTube about it. So just give it time, chat. Give it time. Seller says, "Can you copyright court documents?" No, you shouldn't be able to. But that doesn't stop him from citing it and the AI system taking off. And then I have to convince some Indian dude that, listen, Sar, please don't let me put this back up, Sar. And I've been pretty good about it with Russell, so we'll see. We'll keep working on it. So, anyways, Russell says as follows: I submit this declaration in opposition. Mr. Hardin references financial transactions, including Zelle and Venmo payments, if they establish wrongdoing or misrepresentations. Well, they do. These allegations are misleading and irrelevant. I have not been provided copies of the records Hardin claims to rely on. He doesn't have them. You have them, Russell. You have them. He's asking you to hold on to the things he wants. That's how this works, Russell. That's how this works. I have not yet been given dates, receipts, amounts, or other details necessary to meaningfully respond. Discovery, as you said, discovery is stayed. So until it's stayed, he's telling you hold on to these things. These materials were not produced through formal discovery. Yes, but new discovery has caused issues. The only notice I have received of these allegations have been through Hardin's emails and declarations. It's unfair to accuse a party of misconduct based on undisclosed and unauthenticated materials presented outside the discovery process. You're having the discussions, Russell, the discovery process through email and meeting with counsel. It's not everything is filed. I've never voluntarily produced my financial records to the defendant, and no court has authorized defendants to conduct an open-ended inquiry into my finances. So who cares? Hardin's declaration relies on speculation and implication. I mean, it's pretty easy to infer because the matters speak for themselves, Russell. When I applied to proceed in formal pauperis in 2020, I was preparing to locate from Manhattan, Utah. I had recently financed a vehicle, earned well under $40,000 a year. I faced overlapping rent, deposits, moving expenses, normal cost. Before filing, I reviewed controlling case law and understood. Now, once again, this is a bad thing, Russell, because now you're claiming you understand case law and how things work. So you can't come in and, well, Your Honor, I'm a retard. Well, I reviewed case law. I guess you're not that retarded. Understood in good faith that informal IFP does not require destitution, and it doesn't. But yes, would it impose an undue hardship? Sure. Court granted my application. The court did not require me to remain impoverished, and it doesn't. But if you lied at the time, that's a problem. No court has ever entered an order restricting my ability to make lawful personal expenditures, including so-called large purchases. And that's not the point, Russell. You lied about what you were doing. You lied about how much money you had. You keep lying, Russell. You keep lying. That's the problem. That is your problem, buddy. Hold on, chat. God damn, we went from like 55 and sunny to freaking 20 and snowy. Is it still snowing outside? Yeah, a little bit. Wow. Wow. Wow, chat. It is getting ridiculous out there. Years later, Hardin attempts to relitigate it. Hardin claims to possess text message relating to payments to a sex worker. I did not provide any such messages to defendant's counsel. That's not the point, Russell. You can come across evidence in many ways. To my knowledge, the alleged materials relying were likely supplied by Natalie Banks. Okay. Natalie Banks has stated in a recorded video, I ruined his scam. Yes. The statements show clear animus and prejudgment. Well, no, they show you're a scam artist. It establishes Banks not a neutral or reliable source. No sources are neutral. Every witness is for or against you. There really isn't a neutral witness, Russell. A witness's testimony generally favors one side or another. If it doesn't favor either side, it's generally not a relevant witness. There might be times where the witness says, I saw something, but that something, what they saw, usually benefits one side or the other. I recently obtained the regenerated exhibit of my messages with Banks. I obtained the regenerated, which I don't know if on the farms this got mentioned, but it's like, it's regenerated. Are you saying that you manufactured it? And once again, Russell, does that mean you're offering bullshit evidence? I don't know. But we'll see here, guys. I haven't read the filings. I've been busy all week, but we're going to catch up here. We got to get going here. God damn, there's so many. I reread the communications. None of those messages show violence, threats, coercion, or intimidation, luring someone in the desert or anything similar. They do, though. The messages reflect ordinary communication and, at most, immature joking. Yes. The messages also appear to be for one Instagram account, proving Banks is dishonest. Based upon what knowledge, Russell? Banks' claims are therefore not supported by actual messages. This is another reason she is unreliable. That's an evidentiary issue. You confront her. You could get her deposed. You could confront her with that information. You can't do it right now. You're asking the court to be a finder of fact. It's not time for it, Russell. Here's the problem, though, Russell. You have no money to depose her with, so you're fucked. Defendant's motion, a lot of vague allegations, blah, 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 blah. Hardin's declaration still does not state when any alleged payments occurred, who they were made to, or how they relate to my 2020 IFP stuff. He says, this case concerns copyright, not financial policing. For this reason, the motion should be denied in its entirety. I expressly reserve all rights, including the right to seek appropriate relief and sanctions, should defendants continue to pursue baseless expeditions or misrepresent the record. Russell's learning how lawyers do it. Yes. Russell's learning how lawyers do it. Uh-huh. Uh-oh. Russell's learning. And Seller says, can he depose her himself? Yes, but Russell has to pay for the court reporter. He's going to have to pay for the transcripts. That's the cost of a deposition. You're going to have to pay the person being deposed. Like, you have to pay for that. You have to pay for travel, depending on situations. But mainly, you got to pay for a court reporter and transcripts. That costs money. That's why a deposition's a couple $1,000s minimum. Russell's got to pay for all that. This idea of, like, if you guys have ever watched Suits where they just have a camera going, like, that happens sometimes for basic information, but, like, that alone isn't, like, you can't just, like, that alone just doesn't cut it. Uh-oh, hold on here. What is this? So, just something to think about, guys. Reserving the rights under UCC. No, that's actually right. You reserve all rights. There's nothing wrong with putting that in there. Is it unnecessary? Probably, but you know what? Pants and suspenders. Belt and suspenders. That way your pants don't fall down. You have to rent a venue for deposition. Yeah, but but Green Caps, that's as simple as like, let's say you had your local library and you could rent a room for free. You just have to reserve it. That's the cost. But yeah, Russell's probably going to have to travel to depose Natalie Banks. Forcing Natalie to travel on her own isn't going to work. So Russell would have to figure out a way to get out to fucking Ohio. Like, yeah, there's all kinds of shit here. Imagine if Greer tried to record and take the transcript himself using Grok. I could see him trying to do that. That won't work. Chat. There's so many costs to this. Anyways, this is true and correct. And we have a new Russell Greer signature now. And it's like somebody trying to dodge a surface-to-air missile. Yeah, there you go. That is a squiggle. That is a squiggle. I know you're making the soft-sit joke. He didn't include sui generis on the end of that. So that is here. But yeah, it's not gonna work. This is a my left foot. This is like Dagger 1-1 defending. Sam launch! And just flying around. Yeah, it's like the F-16 pilot that was dodging all those SAMs, the HUD thing there. Roscoe says, are you going to go and depose Natalie Banks? Why would I depose her? But Russell's going to have to you're going to have to figure that out, buddy, and I don't think you've gotten to that point yet. So even if he does get what he wants, he's going to be like the dog who caught the car. What do you do now? Out comes Matthew Greer. Russell starts flailing and crying and having his temper tantrum. Matthew Greer sits there, drinks his coffee, gets up after Russell Greer tires out, and puts his motion down to complete the record. Yes, chat. This is where we go now. Oh, this is good. Well, what did somebody just message me? Oh, hello. What's this? Am I still up? Let's see here. Oh, the Epstein file stuff is out. Yeah, we may look at that tomorrow night, chat. I'm going to let people do a lot of the digging through so I don't have to dig through everything. Not a shower text. Matthew Greer? Oh, no. I'm sorry, Hardin. It's just it's kind of like the end of Animal Farm, where the farmers and the pigs are fighting so much that, as Orwell said, you couldn't tell who was who at the end. Oh, no. Oh no, chat. He's not gonna return my calls anymore. He's gonna be like, fuck you, Sean. Yes, it's a whole new lolcow. All right, but anyways, here is Matthew Hardin's response. So what do they want to do? They filed this motion to complete the record pursuant to Federal Rule of Evidence 106. And Federal Rule of Evidence 106 is the rule of completeness, chat. Rule of completeness is a real thing. It is a real thing that's out there. And you have, statements and things that have been introduced. You have the ability to, for example, if the police, in a criminal case, they show part of an interview or they show part of a body cam, or one party shows part of a video, or in a civil case, let's say there's an entire conversation chain of text messages, and they show one little bit of it. You're allowed to go, wait, there's space dust on this, and blow it off and wipe it off and say, look, here's the rest of that context. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to do that. Yes, I just lost a friend forever. I know. That's my life. Such is life. I regret nothing. And it says, defendants request the entire writing be produced in support of that motion as follows. Yes. And guess what Russell Greer put in? Docket number 415 at pages 12 through 38. Oh, chat. Well, like, what was that? What was that again? Oh, I think I know. Uh-oh, chat. When we go to what's page? Document 415, page 12. Oh, no, Russell. Oh, no. The bad man, no. Matthew Hardin, no. Oh, yes. Yes, good job, Russell. Russell's Greer, he attached only a portion of a writing, which Russell Greer and the defense witnesses are familiar. According to Greer, he only attached the only part as an exhibit is expensive, explanatory, and defensive. It does not advocate violence or harassment. Well, yeah, he only showed 20-some pages. Defendants and their proffered witness have a very different view, yes. Even the plaintiff previously acknowledged there was support for a different interpretation. I know. Specifically, Russell himself acknowledged the book detailed his history of restraining orders issued by judges who found, based on evidence presented in state courts, Russell Greer was likely to present a risk to sex workers in Nevada. Yes. No! Yes, Russell Greer laid a minefield and then he stepped on one of his own mines. Oh, yeah. So, defendant's position is that Greer's book is alarming for reasons related to its author's behavior, which will be fully addressed by Natalie Banks' testimony. And then the alleged reproduction of the book would have been motivated by a desire to protect women from Mr. Greer. And it says, yes, and here's Rule 106. If a party introduces all or part of a statement, the adverse party may require the introduction at a time of any other part or any other statement that in fairness ought to be considered. It's about context. It's a rule of completeness, but it's mainly a rule of context. And it says, although courts have enormous discretion in applying it, that discretion only comes into play with respect to otherwise inadmissible hearsay statements. So if there's other hearsay involved, okay, that might be excluded. But generally speaking, the rest of that comes in, and you should be able to. Defendants are not objecting, and notice, and we indeed expressly desire that Greer's full writing be considered as an admission of a party opponent. And admission of a party opponent is not hearsay by definition under the federal rules of evidence. And notice, Russell, this is how you cite a federal rule of evidence. Cargo cult, you're formatting. Cargo cult, you're fucking formatting, brother. Let's go. 2.0's out there like, oh my God, I'm going to marry this fucking retard. Then she sits there and pets Clyde. She's like, at least I got you out of this. I'm sorry, baby. I love you. I love you, sweetheart. She's like, what? Like, I love you, sweetheart. She's like, I guess I love you too. So they submit that Russell Greer's alternate title of his book filing, which is not Why I Sued Taylor Swift, but is actually Why I Sued Taylor Swift and having him falsely known as frivolous, litigious, and crazy. And moreover, Greer has submitted for this court's consideration only a portion of his book, which he claims does not advocate violence or harassment, but has not submitted the portions which bear upon his restraining orders. Yes, chat. The excerpt of a writing for Greer submitted appears not to refer to restraining orders at all. And the defendants have an unqualified right under the rule of completeness to insist the remainder be produced. In particular, Greer's own proffered table of contents, yes, illustrates why other parts of his book might be relevant to a finding Greer is worthy of criticism under the doctrine of fair use, or why individuals, including Natalie Banks and Joshua Cotter Moon, might find Greer dangerous or retarded and want to laugh at him. Farrell says she's busy packing. Oh. The chapter headings include She Chose Him Over Me, followed immediately by the $50 million lawsuit. This fits neatly with the theory that Russell Greer is angered when women choose anyone other than himself. I'm sure I'm sure. And lashes out in ways that include but are not limited to frivolous litigation. It's natural to believe that individuals might seek to reproduce Russell's book or comment upon it as a means of protecting others from Russell Greer. This is a fucking kill shot, and it's masterfully done. You know, this idea of just letting Russell Russell is buffalo jumping himself. Russell gets himself fired up and runs himself off the fucking cliff. And Hart is just sitting there in a fucking lawn chair. It's hilarious. So they want a full proffering of it, and I think they're entitled to it. I think they're entitled to it. Who gets Clyde? I mean, I would get Clyde. We would sit Clyde down, and he would have to be in the courtroom, and he would have to look. He'd look both ways, and then he'd probably just start licking his ball or lick his wiener. That's, as a dog would prone to do. Trucker Rob says for $5, Sean! Yes, thank you, Rob. But yes, oh no, Russell. Oh no. Sign Matthew D. Hardin. That's right, Russell's getting the D tonight, chat. Then we get to the fun stuff. On Wednesday, or on Tuesday, actually, Matthew Hardin called me in a panic. He was like, I'm now Russell Greer had turned him into Russell Greer. Because now there was a protection order filed against Matthew Hardin. And he's like, Sean, he did it. He reversaled me. I now have a protection order. He Russell Greered me. He's like, what do I do? But plaintiff's application for a personal protection order against counsel. This really did happen, chat. So what happened? Greer appears to have filed an ex parte, which, well, you can file an ex parte motion without notice to undersigned counsel. And that's normally how protection order is done. You do an ex parte motion. An independent civil action seeking personal protection against defense counsel in the state courts of Las Vegas. Undersigned counsel became aware of the attached application via a third party and online dockets from the Clark County Justice Court. We have not read the contents of the state court pleadings or been served with process. However, counsel urgently alerts this court of the parallel action Greer has initiated because it appears likely Greer's state court action against counsel will impact the ability to respond to pleadings in this case and will impact the court's administration of its own docket. Yes, this will be a massive problem. That's correct. He turned him into Matthew Greer. He Greered you, Matthew. Russell went, Jaffa. Signed Matthew Hardin. And then here is, hold on here. Did I skip something? Oh, shit. I went out of order here, chat. Fuck. We went a little farther. We're going to have to back up, chat. God damn it. I hate this when it happens. Okay. Nope, messed up there. We'll finish up document 420. 420, blaze it. 420, blaze it, chat. The stream ruined, start over. Yeah, you're going to have to suffer. Anyways, this is the action thing here. Filed 1213, an application for protection against stalking. We'll get back to this in a minute here, chat. We'll get back to this in a minute here. So anyways, we'll get back to this. Matthew Hardin responds to the preservation order motion here. I'm sure it's your fault. It's always your fault, chat. It's always your fault. So they point out what they did. And Matthew Hardin, has to come back in and explain to the court, look, Russell's wrong. It's again. 11 days ago, we sent out a preservation demand. Despite that the demand was legally and factually, Russell Greer sent out a preservation demand to counsel. So Russell Greer, once again, copied and pasted. Despite that the demand was legally and factually dubious and had all the hallmarks of being generated by artificial intelligence, undersigned counsel confirmed the defendants are preserving all evidence. But it apparently is too much for Russell to do the same. Russell Greer, whose entire claim must be dismissed, if it turns out his poverty allegations are untrue, has outright refused to preserve evidence of payments using Zelle and Venmo. Even after defendants identified text messages stating those apps were used by Greer to pay hookers, Greer was claiming poverty to this court at the same time. And hookers are not a necessity. Russell's going to be like, but it is. I need my hookers. I really. He's like Dark Side Russell. It's like, I need those hookers. I really, really do. I need those hookers. Russell Greer argues he should be permitted to destroy evidence or at least take no measures to protect it because his IFP application was improper. And the IFP issue is moot because Russell's belatedly paid the filing fee. And that we're engaged in a fishing expedition, despite that discovery is closed and no subpoenas have been issued, which is correct. And the efforts to preserve evidence reflect harassment. And he says Russell misses the point of the preservation request. And indeed virtually confesses he either intends to commit spoliation or that he committed fraud in obtaining IFP. You know, his bald assertion, he's bald! He was entitled to proceed IFP in 2020 is besides the point. It may or may not be true. And inquiring into the truth of the statement is the very reason the defendants seek to preserve it. Greer has now sworn under the penalty of perjury on 2 separate occasions that he was qualified to proceed as a pauper. There is no expectation that we take Greer's word for it, especially after Greer's been sanctioned for making false statements repeatedly to the same court. Yes. And that's a very good point. He's a liar, Judge. And even if it's were the proper time or posture for this court to adjudicate whether Greer was entitled to proceed as a pauper, or whether or not he committed fraud, certifying his entitlement, and it is not, Greer is not denied under oath the core defense assertion that he was sending money to hookers. And that's true. He has not contested it, which means he's deeming it to be true. Defendants previously questioned whether his IFP application was fraudulent based on public records, including Greer's own postings. What Greer told other courts in simple mathematical calculations. Yes, but also Russell Greer's own words were used to determine that. Hold on, chat. Oh, jeez. Oops, sorry, I did not mute that. My bad. Defendants now have additional evidence in the form of text messages from Greer himself to a sex worker, add a concern and a fear that evidence will be destroyed before discovery reopens. Regardless, we are not seeking to subpoena evidence. The very purpose of the request is to enable such a challenge later, at which point Russell will have the opportunity to rebut any evidence that is eventually presented. If Russell did not commit fraud or perjure himself when he applied for IFP, future discovery will bear that out, which we know it won't. Russell will be determined to be a fraud. I ate the tissue. Oh, shh. Don't tell anyone. Russell complains that he's not yet seen the text messages, but they are text messages from Russell Greer. So Russell Greer is effectively alleging he has not seen his own messages, which means he deleted them. Defendants are in the process of voluntarily making a production of records to Russell for his perusal. How many strays does Richard Gere catch in a week for Russell? I don't know. He's going to suffer. The court need not hypothesize about how eventually will be proven every time a preservation request is presented. That's true. Wait, I just mentioned this. You got to do it. You got to do it. Like we are contemplating something. Please preserve. Who knows what's going to be? And Russell says the issue is moot because he paid the filing fee for his IFP stuff. And he says, this is at odds with the controlling statutory language. And he says that 28 U.S.C. 1915 mandates dismissal of an action brought in IFP if the poverty allegation is determined to be untrue at any time. Yes, it's an ongoing duty of candor to the court. Remember, chat, we all have a duty of candor before the court. The statute even expressly states such dismissal may be required despite the filing fee is later paid. Congress recognized litigants may seek to simply pay a filing fee to avoid scrutiny of whether they obtained the leave, file IFP by fraud, and left the court with no discretion about what to do when that happens. Dismissal is mandatory. Although defense are not seeking such a dismissal on these grounds, though, They are seeking to preserve evidence that will show that they are entitled to it. Russell offers no reason why he should be required to preserve such vital cases positive evidence. Yeah, it's true. Well, you haven't said why he doesn't have to. Greer states it's a fishing expedition, but that would not be true even if discovery were available in this matter, and it is currently stayed. Defendants cannot take anyone's deposition, issue subpoenas, or even send interrogatories. All defendants have is the ability to voluntarily engage with witnesses and investigate Greer's claims through mechanisms that do not require the use of this court's compulsory process. In those such voluntary interactions, defendants have obtained credible evidence to suggest that he has had or lots of money pouring in. For his part, Russell has only added fuel to the fire. And they say that Russell is only eligible to cede for IFP under this court's rules if he made less than $25,000 in 2020. But Russell in his latest filing suggests he may have been making $14,000 above that threshold. Yeah, when he says well under 40,000, well, what does that mean, Russell? And it says, and this is part of where Russell's trying to avoid being embarrassed. And this is kind of where you fuck yourself, because you're like, you don't want to get embarrassed and admit you're only making like $25,000. So you say well under. Well, that doesn't tell you that we don't know what well under means. And Russell Greer has not explained and cannot explain how the defendants are engaged in a fishing expedition by following up such obvious leads. Especially in light of a statute that mandates dismissal if it's ultimately proved the poverty claims are untrue. Yeah. Like, how's it a fishing expedition when we're pulling on a thread that can unravel it all? And there has been no harassment by seeking assurances that Greer will preserve the evidence. Russell does not even identify what supposed harassment he complains of. The court would have been notified of the present dispute had Russell agreed, as the defendants readily did, to preserve all evidence. Remember, guys, these are just emails going back and forth. And if he agreed in an email, nobody would have ever known about this. But remember, Russell brings everything up in public. Russell doesn't understand that a lot of this stuff can happen behind closed doors and avoid the problems to him. It says, when discovery opens, if Greer feels defendants submitted any improper or abusive subpoenas, he can move to quash them. Yes, he can. At the present time, Greer is not opposing any discovery at all. Yeah, once again, it's all premature for Russell. Once again, signed Matthew D. Hardin to Russell. And then Russell's, this one's good. This one's good. Russell's complaining because he got caught about the book. So his opposition to the motion to complete the record. And he's like, well, wait, my book. No. No. Since Russell is, nobody chats will argue the other side, I will. Russell could take totally more butt gerbils other than Richard Gere. No, poor Lemmy Winks. Don't do that to Lemmy Winks. So, he says the motion to complete the record should be denied for 4 straightforward reasons. Are they really that straightforward? Rule 106 does not apply because the plaintiff's excerpt is not misleading. It is, though. You're only showing part of it. Defendant's theory would gut copyright law by allowing infringement based on subjective hostility toward an author. Russell, you offered it. You proffered the exhibit. You proffered it. You did this to yourself. You don't get to then hide behind copyright. It doesn't work, Russell. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Stop fucking yelling. No! No! No. The defense are attempting to rehabilitate a witness. They're not. You're rehabilitating a witness, Russell. We're not at that point. You're talking about testimony. There's been no testimony taken. No witness has been impeached. No credibility has been attacked. There's no rehabilitation. Nothing has occurred. Nothing has occurred. Nothing has occurred. So you're arguing once again. He's like arguing about shit that comes to a deposition. We're not there yet. Rehabilitate a witness by labeling Russell as dangerous, even though she never met Russell, and the actual messages contradict that claim. Yeah, once again, no, they don't. The defendant's theory is internally inconsistent. This makes no sense here. Because the plaintiff was never able to market the book at all due to coordinated online interference. That doesn't make any sense. And we'll get to just listen to this. He says, this motion is not about completing the record. It's about shifting theories. It's not shifting theories. You introduced a fucking exhibit. Inflaming prejudice and avoiding the real record that Kiwi Farms is the world's biggest community of stalkers. And they infringed plaintiff's copyrights in an effort to sabotage him. Oh, no, no, no. Rule 106 does not apply because nothing was taken out of context. Well, yeah, you literally only showed a handful of pages, Russell. It was completely taken out of fucking context. You offered a limited excerpt with the intent to mislead. Plato cited chapter 1 of his book for a narrow purpose to explain why the book was written. Chapter 1 sets out the thesis, intent, and purpose of the work. Yeah, but this is not the time to do it. You need to offer that at trial, Russell. Defendants do not identify any sentence that becomes misleading without later chapters. So you're admitting here, Russell, this is an admission that they don't identify any sentence becomes misleading without the later chapters. You're admitting that it's misleading because there's other contradictory information in your book. So you've completely I would argue, and I don't know if Hardin, because like I said, guys, I have not read these yet. If I'm Hardin, I'm like, that's a tacit that's an admission that it is misleading. Like, it does become misleading, Russell. It's like you fucking mongoloid, you fucking raked yourself. Inartful wording at best. Yeah, you know what? That's his problem, though. Is it an artful wording? I don't know. You know, because here's how you can catch him, though. This is a good point. You could say it's an artfully worded. Well, you wrote it, Russell. Be like, no, AI wrote it. It's like, but there you go, Russell. Good job. Good job. Yes, it's a tacit agreement, to quote the great, what's his name? What's his name now? Daryl Brooks. God, I feel embarrassed. I don't remember him anymore. But yes, this is you're admitting it. Rule 106 does not permit forcing publication of an entire book because defendants want to weaponize it for character attacks. Yeah, that's not you did this to yourself, buddy. You did this to yourself. Defendant's theory would destroy copyright law if accepted. You offered it, Russell. You did this, though. They're not offering part of it. You did this. Russell says the idea is that infringement is justified because someone believes the author is a bad or dangerous person. No, it's to show you how dangerous you are. That is not the law. If accepted, anyone could infringe any copyrighted work and excuse it by saying, I think the author is dangerous, or people online warned me. Copyright law does not turn on moral judgments or subjective fear. Criticism and commentary are completely subjective. I think this thing fucking sucks. That's subjective. Yes. I am the law. He almost sounds like Sylvester Stallone. Like, I am the law. Yes. I am the law. It evaluates the use of the work, not the hostility. Copyright, it evaluates the use of the work. Well, no, not hostility toward the author. I mean, that could be part of it, Russell. Defendant's theory would eliminate copyright protection the moment a crowd forms a negative online opinion. I mean, if they do, they can critique it. I mean, like, are you trying to tell me that Critical Drinker, or is it Mahler's EFAP, the 17-hour EFAP of the Star Wars thing, like, that's not valid because everybody hates it? Like, no, Russell. Suffer. You fucking crybaby. You did this to yourself. The defendants never relied on internet trolls before because they are irrelevant. Defendants did not rely on anonymous internet opinions, online forums, rejected fear narratives in their motion to dismiss. They argued law, not reputation, so you're admitting they argued correct things. That matters. The defendants only pivoted to online hostility after their original theories failed. I don't know about that, Russell. Courts should not permit parties to reinvent relevance mid-case. Yeah, mean like you did here? Mean like you did? I'm just saying. By importing internet errors that were never legally relevant before. Well, anyways, Natalie, notice he said 4 straightforward things. Where's that internally consistent shit? Because like you said 4 straightforward, and we're at number 4 already. Well, yeah. Natalie Banks never met plaintiff and cannot label him dangerous. That doesn't. I don't have to meet you to know you're dangerous. You're dangerous to fucking women. You have some fucking issues, man. I don't know what they are, but I wouldn't want you dating my sister. I wouldn't like any woman I know. I wouldn't want you interacting with them. And it's undisputed that they've never met in person. Okay, that doesn't mean anything. Banks has no firsthand knowledge of Russell's real-world behavior. She has your text messages, homie. That's firsthand knowledge. Her claim Russell's dangerous is speculative and improper. Her own messages, the only direct interactions, which, yeah, she has firsthand knowledge then, doesn't she? Show flirtation, awkwardness, and emotional expression. If that's your idea of trying to romance the stone, Russell, if that's your idea of romancing, holy fucking shit, brother. Oof. No threats, no violence, and no intimidation. Calling the plaintiff dangerous is not evidence. It is a conclusion untethered from facts. No, it's a interpretation of what you're there. Courts do not allow laymen to make quasi-expert judgments about dangerousness. Oh, yes, they do. That's not a quasi-expert determination. She's like, in my opinion, to me, I felt concerned. Present sense impression, effect on the hearer. How did you feel? Yes, but the defendant's position reverses reality, chat. It is you who's reversing reality. The framing is especially troubling given the contrast in conduct. Banks has publicly posted videos about plaintiff calling him creepy looking and admitted actions intended to interfere or sabotage with him. You admitted to interfering and sabotaging to her, Russell. Plaintiff believes that targeting individuals and gloating about ruining them is far more concerning than anything shown. Well, you were running a scam. She's allowed to be. Scam artists should be felted. She should be cheering in that and reveling in it. Yeah, this is keep crying, Russell. Keep crying. It's far more concerning than anything shown in plaintiff's private messages or expressive writing. Russell has never posted videos attacking Banks. Plaintiff has never encouraged others to target her. Russell never attempted to interfere with her livelihood. You called her manager and tried to get her fired. So yes, you did. Well, now you're lying. This is a lie now. Yet defendants asked the court to accept the opposite conclusion. Yes, Russell, that's how this works. Your Honor, accept our position, not theirs. Yes, Russell, this is how the law works. Plaintiff was never able to market the book. The narrative is false. The defendant's theory collapses on basic facts. Really, it does. Plaintiff was never able to meaningfully market the book at all. At the time Russell wrote the book, media coverage surrounding Taylor Swift was dominated by an unrelated, high-profile lawsuit brought by a DJ who accused her of misconduct. That case consumed public attention. Russell's book received no mainstream exposure. So you're acknowledging there was never a market for your book. If there's no market for your book, Russell, how did they infringe on your copyright? It was a market supplanting, but you're saying there was no market for your book. How does that work? How does that work? I mean, this is a great admission. This is 100% an admission. I'm sure Matthew Hardin loves this. I don't know why you would admit to this here. Huh. I guess you really are retarded after all. So desperate to score a goal, you don't realize you're kicking into your own net. Good job. Good job, Russell. Good job. More importantly, coordinated online interference ensured retailers and readers would not touch the book. So you're saying, but you're saying that it was consumed by the lawsuit. But now you're saying that coordinated online interference. Are you saying that the farms and the Swifties coordinated? That would be like an unholy alliance, chat. What's the coordinated online interference? So it's like Noel and Taylor Swift together forever. The slobber mutt. And the Swifties. Noel walks up to Taylor Swift. It's like, Taylor, you son of a bitch. And they link up. Yeah, that's a good point. There is no Taylor through. There's no Taylor Swift thread. No. Yes. The beauty parlor gatekeeps. The beauty parlor gatekeeps. It all makes sense now. Russell's been right all along. The farms is the hardship. Taylor Swift runs the farms. Wow. More like the Kelceys are teaming up with the farms. Well, he wasn't in the picture at this point, but yes. Travis Kelce is helping do it. Noel was Travis Kelce all along, yes. Tay Farms, yes. Oh, so anyways, we'll keep going here. More importantly, they ensured retailers and readers would not touch the book. Anonymous user posted 1-star reviews. Could have been Taylor Swift fans, Russell. Left comments directing potential readers of Kiwi Farms and told people save your quid by avoiding the book and visiting Kiwi Farms instead. Kiwi Farms usurped the market for the copyrights. But you said there was no... that was never able to meaningfully market the book because of the lawsuit. Which one is it, Russell? Which one is it? Remember, he talks about here, it's internally consistent. Yes, something is internally consistent. This motion is internally fucking consistent. This is internally consistent here, you know. It's unfair to law a false narrative to try to control a case. Okay. Also, yes, CLYDE. Yes, we got a Clyde Tower chat. I don't know if he'll come in here. Hold on. Hey, Clyde. Come here, buddy. Then it says when Russell was robbed of his opportunity to market the book, who had a documented history of doing this to others? Who have we done this to, Russell? Who has suffered? Who behind this treachery? Also, hold on for a second. I don't know. I think Clyde's sleeping next to 2.0. He's probably all curled up. That says forcing public following the entire work would place it on Pacer, where it can be downloaded and redistributed immediately. Yes, Russell. Guess what? You shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that, Russell. That's why you don't do this. As Matthew Hardin says, Russell just acts and then he doesn't think about it till afterwards. And yes, now you're cleaning up your mess, Russell. It says, given the documented history of Kiwi Farms, that harm is foreseeable and unnecessary. We already said the Farms has it. Don't they already have the Google Drive link for Rusthard and Mosif Jartelli? Like, aren't we already set? Don't we have it on the Farms? So why do we need it now? If we need it now, what's the deal? Russell, this is once again. Yes, it's foreshadowing, chat. This is internally fucking inconsistent. It's internally inconsistent. This motion is internally inconsistent. Rule 106 in the copyright law does not require dissemination, where a limited excerpt already served its purpose. You already admitted it doesn't serve the purpose. Remember, guys, Control-Enter, don't do this. Don't do this. This is fucking uncouth and uneducated. Don't have orphans like this. Widows and orphans are disgusting. Why is Clyde forsaken this? Because you guys don't like the stream enough? I think so. The repeated use of the words like dangerous and alarming is designed to inflame rather than inform. This framing would turn a copyright case into a character trial driven by internet sentiment. It's what the rules are meant to prevent. The excerpt was not misleading. It was. Rule 106 did not justify forcing publication of a copyrighted book. No, but you did this. Yes. Anyways, the motion to complete direction should be denied. Russell Greer, my left foot. And then the certificate of service. Okay, cool. Cool. As we go on here, we need to then move ahead. Guys, we're almost done here too. We're making good time. We are making good time. Matthew Hardin, we're catching up to as of Wednesday. We're getting there, chat. We're catching up to today. Yes, but the words of the stalker website are meant to intended to inflame. Those are to inform. Yes. Yes. Hold on, chat. One more second. Is Clyde sleeping? 2.0 is like poking him, and he's like, "Fuck you! I don't want to get up." But yes, wait, half seem half Seamus Racing. Okay. Anyways, they update on the protection order thing here. Yes, I love how this is done. The true and honest. It should be a true and honest. I wish Hardin would do that once in a while just to make Russell Greer lose his mind. But a true and correct copy of the entire case file is attached. Guys, if you want to read what Russell says, we're going to get into that here. Suffer, Russell. Greer notes the court's unfavorable orders in this. And Greer did not serve counsel or provide any notice he was seeking relief in the state of Nevada after being frustrated by his court's rulings. Counsel was required to hire a runner to obtain the document, which means you just, and this works, you pay somebody, they're basically doc monkeys. Tell them to give them a case number and they go get the docs for you. They point out that Greer is satisfied with the court's rulings. That when Russell Greer is dissatisfied, like imposing sanctions, or the court's failure to rule in his favor with 2 motions for a protective order, Greer will simply shop for what he hopes to is a friendlier court. Yes. And he will do it ex parte. Greer will even expressly kvetch. No, Matthew, you're not supposed to be like us. I mean, yes, Matthew, there's room in the half track for you as well. Hop in the Hanomag, buddy. You can man the MG42 for me. But, yes, the kvetching, Russell, about this court's ruling, so local justice of the peace in Nevada. Oh, but I guess welcome to the Einsatzgruppen, Matthew. Welcome to the Einsatzgruppen. With your credentials, you will have a field commission as an Obergruppenführer. Yes, reflecting your knowledge and your experience. Defendants respectfully note the court has an undisputed power of the All Writs Act to issue an injunction against parallel state court litigation. Yes. It can issue its own writs. It can interfere in that. It can put holds on stuff. Courts have that authority, chat. And notice what Russell doesn't include that Matthew does. Court rulings, citations. And it says that collecting cases for the proposition that All Writs Act should be used to prevent a state court's interference in a federal court's consideration of a case on its own docket. Yes. And there's a Fifth Circuit case. Notice he's citing real things here. The Fifth Circuit joining state court litigation, citing the All Writs Act and the Anti-Injunction Act. And this is basically an injunction, even though it's a protection order. You're enjoining Matthew Hardin from doing something. Another case out of the Second Circuit that held the removal of otherwise unremovable state court action to federal court. Notice, normally you can't just remove things to federal court. If you try, as sovereign citizens normally do, it gets kicked back. But courts can remove it under the All Writs Act because the state court litigation threatened to cause delay and frustrate the federal court orders. And it's part of the federal court case. Defendants believe that would be the appropriate course here. And Matthew Hardin actually had told me about this. He had been preparing for this. He had been prepared for this to happen, Russell. He knew what you were going to do before you did it, Droopy. He knew, Russell. He knew. And it says the Clark County Justice Court is one of Mr. Greer's favorite courts. Yes. Cited Matthew Hardin. Like a boss. Is Bonbon still here? Yes, she's here for a couple more days. And we'll have Bonbon on screen for the jerky tasting tomorrow, chat. So this is Exhibit A. The order denying request for an order against stalking, harassment, blah, 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 blah. So what happened ultimately? Well, Russell's case got denied. He got recated, chat. He got recated. The requested order is denied. The conduct alleged does not fall within the definition of stalking, aggravated stalking, or harassment pursuant to state law. And signed by the judges, Noreen DeMonte, a woman, another woman denying Russell, chat. Another woman. I'm sure Russell's mad. He's sitting there in his, apartment, just screaming at her, calling her a whore. Yes, Russell, the smiling, happy woman said to you, once again, another woman in the long list of women who looked at Russell and says, nope, nope, no, 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 Russell. Another woman saying no. Another woman says no to you, Russell. That's got to suck. It's got to suck, man. It sucks to suck. So let's keep going here. So this is Russell's filing. It's Russell Guia by Matthew Hardin. So it's the application for protection order. Your name, Russell Greer. Who do you want to be protected from? Matthew Hardin. Who needs protection? Me. And then obviously if you had other people you put down here. And it says, why do you need protected? And they point out the adverse party commits stalking or aggravated stalking. And they point out the definitions. They point out harassment. The adverse party committed sexual assault, the protection of children. And it says, are you applying on behalf of a minor child? No. Now, guys, some people are making points that Russell Greer didn't fill out any of these. And you know what? The court noted that it wasn't an issue of incompleteness. They're just like, this is retarded. We're not dealing with it. They're like, okay, that's a paperwork issue. How do you know the person? Other opposing counsel. That pretty much seals the deal that you're not going to get it. Are there current or prior court cases involving you and the adverse party? At least he didn't lie. At least he didn't lie. At least he didn't lie, chat. He was honest here. Firearms and guns. Do they have any guns in their control? I don't know. Think about the most recent event. These questions ask about the most recent event only. The date it happened. Okay, and where did it happen? In Las Vegas. Did the person threaten to use a weapon? No. What happened? He says the respondent's attorney, but the conduct was taken without lawful authority. Discovery in the case was stayed. No subpoenas or authorized third-party contact. Okay. That's no subpoenas were authorized, but you can still contact people. And the conduct did not occur through court filings. But despite this, the respondent escalated non-litigation conduct by sending accusatory emails, publishing a private Nevada resident's contact information, unilaterally declaring, and notice, Russell's talking about a third party, the Waylon Huber stuff. So, Russell, this isn't even for you. Your Waylon Huber would have to file this, not you. This caused fear, distress, and interference with my personal relationships. This is not, Russell, you're arguing for someone else than yourself. And it says past events. On May 21st and May 29th, the respondent contacted WH, a private resident with no involvement in litigation, by email. In those communications, the respondent accused me of fraud and other conduct and asserted that Waylon Huber had been roped into the wrongdoing. The respondent had no subpoena. That's fine. He doesn't have to. Court order or authorization to contact me. He doesn't need one, Russell. I asked the respondent to stop contacting people connected to me. He refused. Once again, Russell, you need to be held accountable. Seller says, you get to file these for free? Yes. Protection orders, yes. Yes, Russell really believes women shouldn't be allowed to say no to him in any form. I'm sure he's going to figure out a way to appeal this and say, Your Honor, I either want her to grant the motion or have sex with me. So what happened another day? After seeing I was present in Winnemucca for lawful zoning and advocacy activity, just say you want to build a whorehouse. Just say you want to build a whorehouse, Russell. Why are you so embarrassed about your advocacy? Is it because you realize most people think it's not cool? They don't like it and they have moral inclinations against it and they think it's wrong? Why don't you just admit what you're doing? Well, anyways, Matthew Hardin sent a Public Records Act request to the Humboldt County officials. The respondent was opposing counsel in an unrelated copyright case. In my presence in Winnemucca, I had no relation to that litigation. He lied about being available. This caused distress and concern. The respondent was monitoring my movements and using government channels to target me personally. Yes, he was using government channels to target him. Chat. Yes, he used public records requests to target you. Yeah. Was law enforcement informed? No, but he said he was going to. Is the adverse party in jail? Russell should be like, nobody should be. Temporary protections requested. I want prohibited activities. They don't want to threaten, physically injure, or harass me and or the minor child directly or through someone acting on their behalf. The current residence. The adverse party should stay away from my current residence. Okay. Do you and the adverse party live together? Do the adverse party know where you live? No. If no, is your address confidential? Yes. Russell, we don't even know where you live because you have listed an address on the court forms. So you're saying those aren't the right address? Why do you cry to YouTube every time if I post that? Why? What is it then? You're just a fucking liar, buddy. I mean, fuck you at this point. It just shows how much of a floppy vagina little girl you are that he doesn't have my address, but the address I put on court forms, I cry about like a little fucking girl. I mean, really, buddy, like think about that shit, man. Think about it, Russell. Come on. Yes, I know he's evicted from that address last year. Yeah, is there an address for the bridge underpass? I know. He lives under a bridge somewhere. Or it's Las Vegas. Actually, what they do in Las Vegas, all the bums live down in the because normally it doesn't flood, all the underwater or the underground drainage systems. And last year when they had a big storm, like I think people were worried like all those hobos drowned. But yes, Russell Greer can live down there. Probably where he lives. Do you live in the same properties? He's like, no. Personal belongings, none of that here. Work. Should the average party stay away from my workplace? Do you and the average party work in the same place? No. Is your work address confidential? Yes. Okay, so he goes through here. I want an order up to 45 days, plus an order that could last up to 2 years. And he goes through all this. He says, I declare under the penalty of perjury under the state of Nevada, the foregoing is true and correct. I mean, I see him catch a perjury charge, but he won't get one. So he's in the tunnels with Faye Reagan. Funny. And this is all this here. He says, my name is Russell Greer, and I declare. He says, I submit this declaration saying there's been a pattern of stalking, intimidation, and escalating harassment by Matthew Hardin, an attorney licensed in Virginia who represents the Kiwi farms in a copyright case in the District of Utah. The conduct did not occur in court, did not occur through court filings, and is not protected litigation activity. According to you. Instead, it's repeated malicious and frightening intrusions in my personal life, my relationships, and my safety. Yes, Russell. We're preventing you from harassing women peacefully. You should be allowed to harass women without anybody pushing back. So he points out that this is fucking AI right here. This is all AI shit. This is all AI. All AI. They say, although he represents the defendants, this petition is not legitimate litigation activity. It consists of personal interference, defamatory communications. These acts were committed without lawful authority or occurred to have their effect on me. Then there's the overview of the stalking. And he says here, they targeted my acquaintances and it made, they expose uninvolved third parties. They encourage anonymous harassment. They spread false statements about me. Caused me to genuinely fear for my safety. I mean, why? What's going to happen to you, Wussel? What's going to happen to you, Wussel? It says discovery has been stayed. Okay, but that doesn't mean anything. He says, during the period in which discovery was stayed, I attempted to pursue formal discovery through 2 subpoenas. So, what? Yeah, like, these efforts were immediately challenged by respondent's counsel, and the court quashed the subpoenas. The respondent was fully aware that discovery, including third-party contact, was prohibited, and that's not true. You can do it informally, Russell. You just can't do it through the court. And he goes on and on and on. This is all just ringing out his tampon from before. This is Russell just tampon ringing out the whole case. Look, this goes on and on, chat. This is just a fucking Spurg post. Look at all this mean stuff. Oh, no. Oh, no. I do like this, though. On December 9th, I received a new anonymous email stating, "Daddy's back, you worthless shit." I'm assuming shit face. I also received, immediately after Matthew Hardin's December 4th and 9th emails, I began receiving anonymous messages, including, "Hey, stupid, Zaddy's back." Threats to target my family. Nobody's threatened to target your family, Russell. And they say, "Federal court has not ruled on my request for protection, allowing the conduct to continue." Well, they've denied it. They're not giving you, Russell. It's resulting fear, distress, and impact. It's caused insomnia. It's caused panic attacks. It's caused withdrawal from social and professional contacts. Like what? Fear that my Nevada relationships will be targeted. Fear that Nevada agencies will be contacted again. An ongoing sense of being surveilled, exposed, or hunted. Well, don't be online. His conduct meets every element of this. His Juris Doctorate and his law license do not give him a reason to step outside the norms of conduct. His conduct is not normal. I mean, if you guys had a détente, like if you guys had the meeting, we could have we could pick whatever bunny ranch. I think he said you're at the what's the one? There's which is it? Oh, it is. I think this is the only one he's allowed into. I think he's only allowed into the Chicken Ranch brothel is the only one left that he's allowed to go to. We need to turn the Chicken Ranch brothel. It needs to be like Reykjavik in 1986 or 85, where you had Reagan and Gorbachev and they meet and they discuss, How is he paying for this? It doesn't cost you money to file these. So you don't need any money to file this. This is based on all this patterns of stuff. The relief requested. Cease all non-litigation contact with me. Well, he doesn't talk to you otherwise. This is all just retarded here. This is all so fucking stupid. This is all so stupid. I mean, just look at all this. Look at all this fucking, this is just, it goes on and on and on and on and on. This is all just ridiculous. Like, he literally had all these pages attached of all this stuff. Also not signed by Russell Greer, my left foot. Yeah. But it keeps going. All these exhibits. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Like, he includes all the court filings and stuff. This is so fucking hilarious. Yes, Russell cries out as he sues you. Very true. Also, fuck off kindly. Yes, that is true, guys. Remember, if you ever talk to Matthew Hardin, including your correspondence with him, to fuck off kindly. He appreciates that. This just goes on and on and on and on and on. Oh my God. Like, it's just I'm sure the judge saw this was like, oh my fucking God. Oh, yes. And the one thing I do think is important to show here, this is important to show that unlike Russell, as far as kvetching about things, there's stuff to kvetch about. And Matthew Hardin, I think, brings up something important here. I think Matthew Hardin brings up something important. And it was done, they spent the money. There wasn't a, oh no, I can't afford this or I can't do it. No. What, what happens here is, Matthew Hardin went ahead and they had to pay for it. They didn't bother, like they weren't, they paid the price. They were you want to be the boss, you got to pay the cost, Russell. And here you go. Here you go, guys. You know, Matthew Hardin paid the money. Look how much Russell. Look, you're crying about $80. Look how much Matthew Hardin paid. Matthew Hardin, he paid $93. He outspended you. He just big dogged you, Russell. You gonna let that happen to you? Are you gonna let that happen? Matthew Hardin's like, I'll drop a hundo. Here's a C note for this. And you're worried about scraping up the $80, and Matthew Hardin pulls out a $100 bill and lights his cigar with it. Oh, no. I mean, and you know what he could have done? If Matthew Hardin wanted to take his time, I'm sure somebody from the farms who lives in Las Vegas would have done it for free. But yes, and yes, Hardin will get this money back at some point. But yes, he's just like, bam, I'm paying for that. I can outspend you. You're broke, Russell. I just think it's so funny. I think Matthew, this is one part where he should have really responded. Like, unlike the plaintiff, we just go ahead and deal with it. Unlike the plaintiff, we have no problem. You know, when we talk about documents, we provide them and we pay the cost to provide the things we back up and we say. There could have been a way to be a little craftier with that, but. Yes. So what do they do here? Here is the cost of everything. And notice the cost for the documents itself wasn't that much. But the cost ultimately was to get the documents. And then they had to get a rush job. And they said, hey, can you get this done ASAP? And they're like, sure. So, and then the emailing was $5, which I was like, Jesus Christ. But notice, like, most of this cost is not for the documents itself. You know, $67 of this $93. 2/3 of it was, yeah. So is Russell never going to quit? Pretty much. He'll never end. He'll never end till he's stopped. So. But now I'm sure Russell Greer is going to file a protection order against the Justice Court saying, you don't help the bad man. Oh, no, chat. And then, yes, we have here Russell Greer finally responding to the status report about the loss, about the protection order. And now Russell's going to get this, I saw a clip, somebody sent me some screenshots of this, and this is pretty good. So here we go, chat. This is it. Plaintiff responds to correct the record and address defense counsel's conduct. Defendants invoke the All Writs Act to suggest Russell engaged in improper parallel litigation. That ignores the actual issue before the court. Defendants counsel's repeated extrajudicial conduct after being told to stop. That's not actually it, Russell. That's not it. Matthew did not limit his actions to filings before this court. Instead, he contacted third parties and agencies in Nevada that have no role or authority or relevance to this case. How do you know? He's like, I expressly instructed Hardin to stop this conduct on 4 separate occasions. Okay. The plaintiff's business and personal affairs are not defendant's affairs. No, yes, they're mine. They're my hookers. Furthermore, it appears this conduct is being purposely done to sabotage plaintiff's affairs. It appears. Are you saying it appears? Oh, it's all about your perception, Russell. Yes, being told to stop 4 times. Yes, I'm sure, women, when they've told you to stay away from them, had told you to leave them alone, and it took restraining orders to do it. So, yes, you're familiar with that. You're like, no, I know how it feels. Yes, Justice Ketanji Brown's eventual dissent in support of Russell Greer's case going to the Supreme Court will be amazing. I know it will be. Russell don't know stop. He's like, I didn't hear no bell. But yes, the public records Mr. Hardin filed ended up on Kiwi farms. They're public records, Russell. They're allowed to be. Whose user in turn began stalking people in the released records? How? Hardin continually blasted false accusations against plaintiff while CCing third parties in plaintiff's life. Any reasonable person would be alarmed and terrified. Yes, if they got caught being a fraud, yes, they would be alarmed and terrified. That falls under the state stalking statutes. Except the court said, no, it does not. Under Nevada law, yes, all this accused of happening, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen. The court said no. The court was like, no. Now, Russell says, turning to their assertion, the All Writs Act does not authorize counsel to engage in a course of conduct outside of the litigation. That's not what we're talking about, Russell. It's about the idea that your protection order should have been brought into federal court and you should be forced to deal with that. Finally, plaintiff asked this court twice. Bold, italicized, and underlined. He's making it clear. He broke up the underlining, which is a little weird, but I stylistically, I would just continue it on, but it kind of works. It's a little weird seeing it that way. Seeing it works this way. For a Rule 26 protective order, this court never answered those requests, but instead sanctioned plaintiff for having an opinion. God, Russell, you're telling the court, no, Your Honor, you fucked up. That's not going to help your case when you keep on saying, Your Honor, you're a fucking retard. Oh, man. Oh, no. Oh, no. Plaintiff did not seek to interfere with this court's docket. Yeah, but she ended up doing it. Plaintiff sought to protect basic boundaries after counsel expanded the dispute into his personal and business affairs. Defendant's status report admits that defense counsel was warned repeatedly and chose to continue anyway. Invoking extraordinary federal remedies does not excuse conduct that would be improper if directed at any litigant. The All Writs Act is not a shield against accountability for stalking, nor a license to pressure a party through unrelated third parties. That's not what we're at here, Russell. This is tarred mode here. There's no way he doesn't understand what's happening. Plaintiff submits a response to correct mischaracterizations, place defendant's counsel's conduct in the proper context, document notice, persistence, and resulting prejudice. Plaintiff reserves all rights should this conduct continue. Respectfully submitted, Russell Greer, my left foot. Oh, that's it, chat. And there we go. That is it as of now. And things have it's interesting there. It's interesting what we're dealing with in this case. He is just at some point, and once again, this is the court's failure to maintain control. I talked about this before when we watched legal cases, guys. Trials and judges failing to maintain control of their courtroom, letting witnesses get out of hand, stuff like that. This is just not acceptable. This is not acceptable. The court needs to stop this at some point. It needs to figure something out, and it needs to figure it out quick because this is kind of a disaster. This is embarrassing. This is fucking embarrassing, really, at this point. And there is nothing else, guys. It's all quiet on the Western Front right now, as far as things are going here. It's a mockery. It is, but the court is enabling it. The court has enabled this mockery to continue. This isn't just Russell doing something, but this is the court. This is the court's fault. This is entirely the court's fault at this point. I agree. The only thing left is just start sanctioning and dismissing shit. And Seller says, what would you charge to turn this around for him? There's nothing to turn around. It's not copyright infringement. Russell's already agreed that he doesn't have witnesses. Russell, there's nothing here for anybody. I mean, if you're taking Russell's money, this isn't even damage control. There's nothing to control. This is the boat's already shot full of holes and burning. And all the damage control guys are dead. You can't stop the boat from sinking now. The boat's already going under. There's no recovering it. It's past the point of no return. So there's nothing to do. There's nothing literally to do at this point. The best thing anybody Russell can hire is helping him extricate himself with a minimum of cost and figuring out how to negotiate an exit. That would be all I'd be able to do at this point. Because that's what I'd advise Russell to do. You need to get out of this. You need to exit. We need to get you out of this and limit the bleeding because it's not going to get any better. So that would be a lot of fighting in that regard. And I just don't know how that would work. All right, so we catch up on some things here. Erica Thorpe gifting 10 subs. Thank you, Erica, for that support. We're getting a woo from Clyde on that. Self there. Lone Alaskan with 1 membership. Thank you. 1 sub. Brimstone saying, Moline, Illinois, bring it, buddy. I'll make me a sandwich. I'll come to the Quad Cities and make you suffer. EDW Raptor, SB Sellers, and Lone Alaskan each giving 1 sub. Along with EDW Raptor, SB Sellers, Lone Alaskan, EDW Raptor with 1 sub. You guys are just doing this as a thing here. SB Seller for 1 sub, EDW Raptor for 1 sub, and Shredder S 07 for 10 subs. Let's fucking go tonight, guys. Big fucking support. Just absolutely crushing it out there. Thank you guys for your support, your generosity. Katie says, real friends of the show send super chats. You know what? People being here is, like I said, guys, wherever you want to support, that's support. It's holidays. Come on, people. Stop being broke asses. Remember, I know you're probably joking when you say that, but guys, if you're here, watching is support. There's 322 people watching right now. That's a lot of fucking support. Liking, commenting. Thumbs up, thumbs down. That's all support. So thank you however you do it. Certainly anything would not be, turned down. Not ticket off for $10. Thank you. Says Russell seems to think the other side doesn't get to fight back without his consent. Well, he's not the first lolcow with consent issues. Just saying. Holy fuck, let's fuck, Judge. What? Oh, what? Just you. What? Did I say something out loud? Sorry. Also, that he doesn't need to consent to have sex with somebody. Well, that's also a trait among lolcows. Christian. Yeah. It's a common thing. It's a common thing, isn't it? It's like that thread that runs together all of them. Yeah. Did I say that out loud? I did. Grumbindrel says, so basically he admits he committed IFP fraud. Basically, I think so. Russell's his biggest enemy at this point. Kaz says, I gotta go to the casino. It calls my name. Oh. Yeah. Disloyal. Varlo says, do you think Russell would stop all this if Noel just had sex with him? Huh. Maybe he would. Noel, take one for the team. SB Seller says, too many tips. Sean's auditioning to be Greer's lawyer. Yeah, it's too late for when I'm giving these things. He's already filed stuff, so it's too late. He can't go back. It's too late now. Fedorovsky says, howdy, Sean and Clyde. Well, I would, but once again, 2.0, I could hear her out there. She's poking him and kicking him, and he's well, he looks back over at her. He's no, I'm not doing that. He lays back down. I've seen that before in real life, so I know what's happening. Erica Thorpe back joining us again, reminding us she's not dead for 20 subs. Let's fucking go, chat. Let's go. You guys may not like the Awoos, but the Awoos never get tiring, especially even when I get to see them during the day in real life. Clyde Awoos all the time. Today when I got home from the doctor, Clyde gave a big old fucking Awoo, and it was so cute. He was so cute. He was so happy to see me. 2.0. Katie with 5 subs. Another with 5 subs. Patrick. He's stating Greer tart alert. Yes. Ding-a-ling, ding, 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 ding. I don't have a Greer tart alert. Oh, I wish I had one of my Emma Garand things. I could ping it. Yes, Greer tart alert. Yes. Then Afix says, what did the leper say to the hooker? Keep the tip. That's my best dad joke. That's a pretty good one. I don't think I've heard that before. Merry Christmas. Well, thank you. Merry Christmas to you too. And to everyone out there. Merry Christmas to all of you. Alexa, announce. Yes. Alexa, say announce subscribe to Potentially Criminal. Okay. Spughead says, why is the court allowing this to carry on? Because it's not like the only thing it's got. Like it's a district court. Like they've got complex civil litigation going on, multi-million-dollar lawsuits, complex criminal litigation going on. This is one of many things they're dealing with. So shit's exploding and they can't sit on it all the time because then like everything else would collapse. So that's why they're not noticing. And eventually when they do notice, and I'm not talking about like parenthesis noticing, I'm talking about when they actually check on the cases, like they're going to realize, oh my God, this exploded. And they probably haven't been watching it. You know, whether or not that's also intentional, they're like, fuck, I don't want to deal with this. That's also probably happening too. So that's not the first time courts do that routinely. I don't want to deal with this case. And they just fucking ignore it. Like I have had many cases like that before where, you know, especially like custody cases, court's like, fuck. You know, the magistrate's sitting there like, the magistrate looks at it, it's like, I'm gonna put this on the bottom. I'll worry about it later. Then it comes back up to the top. It's like, oh wait, I gotta go. I got a nail appointment. I'll get to it later. That happens. It does. Thaddeus McThundershing for $2 says, Lemon Grab says, unacceptable. Yes, very true. Jim Cox, a new member. Thank you, Jim. EDW Raptor, SB Sellers, an amateur iconoclast for one sub. That EDW Raptor for $5 says Sellers in Lone Alaska are poaching prize grays in chat to fill our walls. Yes, they are. Suffolk grays, you're getting transed into green. Alyssa says, I'm confused what the hooker has to do with copyright and what the next step in the case even is. Well, they're pointing out that this stuff is out there and Russell's these comments and things are out there because people are looking at it and they're commenting on Russell's things and they're saying, look, see how fucking dangerous this guy is. And it's more about that at this point. Tim is saying the judge isn't getting involved because it's hilarious. I don't think the judge is sitting there going, oh my God, what's going to happen tomorrow? I'm sure this judge wants to fucking jump off a bridge at this point. Oh. So let's see here. Let me see. What's the question here? I have the cowbell. Yeah, I know, but I don't know where I moved it. I kind of have like I had to reorganize a little bit in here, guys. So, I was wondering where this red paint went. I was wondering where that had gone. Yes, give us a ping facility. Just one ping only. One ping only. Your ghost will rain on. Thank you. The judges will be laughing at these in the coffee lounge. Not cases like this. Not like this. No. Yes, Russell Greer, and this is the thing. Russell Greer thinks he would be balls deep in Taylor Swift if it wasn't for the farms. He really believes that. The judge is just watching my streams. If he is, judge, please fix this case. Kill it now. Just kill it. It's out of control. Put it out of its misery. Can't have it. The judge is a farmer and doesn't want to tip the cow. That's funny. He's like, I can't, by the rules of the farms, I can't touch the case. That's tipping the cow. It's like, that point, he should withdraw. Winter Soldiers is Jake Paul or Anthony Joshua. I forgot that's tonight. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, as much as I want to see Jake Paul lose, he has had an uncanny ability through him and his people to pick fights where he actually has a very good chance of winning. So this one he'll probably win. Eventually, he's going to go up against somebody who's going to fucking drop him like a bad habit. But for right now, he's probably going to win. But that doesn't mean he's also not a crypto thief and a fucking scam artist like his brother. That's a separate matter. But I think he'll probably win tonight. He'll probably win tonight. So the judge is confirmed to be a Kiwi. Yeah. Probably. Oh, let's see. What else? Did I miss anything else you guys are talking about? You want to introduce Russell Greer to... Hold on, where is it? You want to introduce Russell Greer to Robert Barnes? That would be hilarious. That'd be hilarious. Russell calling the court retired hasn't hurt him yet. Eventually, yes, but eventually the court's going to be like, okay, I'm tired of you calling me retarded. Eventually, you are going to piss off the court. So I would be very careful about doing it. I'd be very careful about doing it. It's not a good idea. I wouldn't recommend doing it. Greer Pro Se at SCOTUS would be lit. Yeah, that would be funny. That would be funny. But remember, guys, there are Pro Se people who have gone to Supreme Court. Gideon Wainwright. I'm sorry. No, not it's. Well, what's his name? Wainwright. Or no, Gideon. Gideon versus Wainwright. Pro Se wrote his fucking cert petition to the Supreme Court on fucking like notebook paper, and he got his case heard. So it's not impossible. Not impossible. The kid pulling a gun at Walmart in Ohio. What? What? Huh. Yes, the Logan brothers are admittedly athletically talented. Sure they are, but they're pieces of shit as people. They're fucking ripoff artists. They're thieves. Canton, Ohio, Walmart. Okay, well, that makes sense. You're in Canton. Okay. If you're at a Walmart in Canton, I would assume, or Akron, everybody's got a gun. Average Ohio activities. Well, yeah, at a lot of Walmarts in Ohio that would happen. But if you're in Canton, I kind of get that would be the case. So, oh, huh. Well, I think that's it for us, guys. We might we'll probably end here. We'll start up in a little bit. And why does the Gideon case sound familiar? Gideon versus Wainwright establishes you have the right to appointed counsel anytime you face jail time. It establishes the right to court-appointed counsel. So, J-Rock says, I expect nothing less from Ohio. Yes. That's how we roll, man. That's how we fucking roll. That's how we roll. So, all right, guys, that is it for us tonight. I don't know what's going to, the court, like, I'm not joking. This court needs to get its shit together. Like, this is ridiculous. It should not be allowed to continue on like this. This really is not fair. This is not fair at all. And I think this is very problematic. So I hope the court fixes itself. Because I don't see how this is fair at this point. But we'll see. As Noel says, we are the internet's Negro. So it's what we do. We get fucked over. So anyways, yeah, that is it, guys. Maybe next week we'll have even more stuff. But remember, hopefully there's a holiday in between that cuts down on Russell's filings. And it's been 2 days and nothing happened. So you're like, what is the stop at this point? So Sue says, thanks, Sean, in chat. Yes. And chat, we'll see you guys in a minute here. We're going to go over and hang out and do some model stuff here. But just remember, until next time, chat, it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. Pretty simple. We're going to keep finishing the Phobos Marine. we got him going, guys. We got him going. We're gonna keep working on him here. But we will, as said before, and as always, chat. Just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. Not mean you're guilty. Except Russell Greer, you're guilty of a lot of things, probably including perjury. So, well, that said, chat. Good night, and I will see you guys tomorrow. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We're gonna do some other stuff. I don't know. I was thinking about the Fannie Willis stuff tomorrow, because Fannie Willis went in front of the Georgia Senate and had to testify, and apparently she, from what I could tell, she shit the bed, and it was beautiful. So we'll probably go take a look at that because I've heard it was very, 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 very hilarious. Very hilarious. And we're going over to the model channel, guys, and I will make sure the link sets you up over there. So take care, chat, and good night.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy that hated you?